Recording has now officially started. Are you guys ready? It's been a cool minute. It's almost been a month since we've read Lord of Mysteries, but here today on this glorious day, March 18, we shall begin Lord of Mysteries and hopefully finish Volume 2 at a fast and reasonable pace. Knock on wood, we will not be afflicted by any demoness afflictions. Knock on wood, we will not be sick. You know, it's starting to get cold. We're gonna be good. We're gonna stay healthy, and the streams will be consistent. I promise you that. Sometimes they might be short, but we're gonna keep reading Lord of Mysteries. So I hope you guys are ready, because I'm ready. I'm excited. All right, chapter 290 is called the update. Yes, it's been updated. It's been updated for a month. Right there, volume title. 290 is called. Wow, I'm already messing up my pronunciations. Affecting change indirectly. We are definitely stuttering our words this stream. I apologize in advance. All right, 290. I remember that the simple mission... Ooh, this is exciting, man. Hold up. It's been almost a month. I remember that the simple mission given by Mr. Fool was the sole purpose of examining two people from their condent... Wow, I'm already stuttering. For their candidacy... of joining the gathering. The general idea was to find the person in the portrait, and the person was confirmed to be in Backland. Alger Wilson tried to remember what had happened the last gathering, and he couldn't understand what it had to do with the hotbed of the evil god's descent. Wasn't it just to search for someone? Furthermore, it was the kind of task which didn't pose much of a threat. Was there a deeper purpose behind Mr. Fool's simple mission? Was this a silent contest between deities? Many thoughts went through the hangman's mind instantly, and he almost couldn't stop himself from asking justice. Tempted to pay in order to understand what exactly was going on. However, as a veteran official beyonder, a seafarer who steered an ancient ghost ship, he was experienced and shrewd. Yeah, what's up, man? What's up, guys? He forcibly suppressed his impulse and plans to go through the eternal channels of the Church of the Lords of Storms to find out about the recent events in Backland. As for Audrey, she instantly understood what Mr. Fool's sight meant. She immediately understood the entire situation regarding Lenavus. So it turns out that the bit of godhood that Lenavus possessed was the basic foundation for the descent of the true creator into the real world. That's crazy. The harsh situation in East... Oh, wait! I forgot about that. The kid was a ploy. The true creator's real goal was Lenavus, right? Oh, I literally forgot about that. As for Audrey, I just reread this. So it turns out I just read this. The harsh situation in Eastboro, the dock area, and the factory area, however, was a hotbed that provided him rapid nurturing and strengthening. With a simple mission, Mr. Fool stopped the true creator's great conspiracy and saved the whole of Backland. Audrey looked towards the end of the long bronze table, her eyes sparkling brightly. Unconsciously, she brimmed with admiration. At this moment, the gloomy and reserved world let out a chuckle and said, yes, every time I see and hear about a large number of child laborers dying in their teens, and how most workers rarely live past 30 due to extreme exhaustion and their terrible environment, or how after barely surviving the previous test and as a result of their old age and loss of their jobs, they can only wander the streets and die of hunger and cold. I have no doubt about the existence of an evil god. These gods are on the ground in Eastboro, the dock area, and the factory area. Well, there's even been a report that some factory workers have a hard time surviving 5 years. That's sad, man. In the Eastboro of Backland, there's a saying that among the people who live there, without exception, any person who's a grandfather must be from the countryside. The meaning of this sentence is that people living there won't have a third generation as they can't have any grandchildren. Poverty and hunger make the child very thin. Work that's difficult to adapt and cause them to quickly wither away in Backland, much less getting married and conceiving the next generation. This was the first time Audrey heard Mr. World speak so much. He leveled up, dude. She was suddenly plunged into deep shock and confusion. Hey, stop. Just hang out with me. Because then when you go out, you're going to get mad that I'm not streaming. Girl, what's it gonna be? Do you want to hang out with me, or do you want to go out and then bark that you want to come back in? Pick. You got 10 seconds. Let me reread from here. This was the first time Audrey heard Mr. World speak so much, she was suddenly plunged into deep shock and confusion. Why don't I know anything about this? The newspapers and magazines I read only mentioned that the residents of the East Borough are having a hard time. This is far worse than being laborers. Audrey's eyes lost her focus for a moment. She felt as if her understanding of the kingdom and the world had been completely overturned. Suddenly, she understood why Mr. Fool had uttered such a sigh, and why in such an age, such a Backland, and such an East Borough, the dock area, and the factory districts were the hotbeds of an evil god's descent. We can't go on like this, otherwise Backland will one day be destroyed because of this. Audrey felt a strong urge to go back and learn more, to remind her father, Count Hall. She wanted to use the powers of the spectator and the telepathist to secretly guide the governmental to guide the governmental policies that would improve the lives of the pitiful people in Eastborough, the docks area, and the factory district, and thus stop the true creator. Okay. At the end of the long bronze table, KLEIN quietly observed Miss Justice's reactions. He had purposely lamented a while ago and used his Smurf the world to give a detailed explanation. He wanted this noble, one who still had a semblance of purity, to realize the seriousness of the problem and use her to push for a change in the kingdom. Before I become faceless, I must clearly remember that I cannot be personally involved in such matters. He silently said, oh yeah, he's gonna be a... Yeah, next, so it's faceless and then magician? Watch it be that easy for her. Because before I become faceless, I must clearly remember that I cannot be personally involved in such matters. He silently set such a boundary for himself. Thank you, Mr. Fool. Thank you for saving Backland. Your sigh has made me understand the problems at its roots. Thank you, Mr. World. You have made me understand a great deal of the situation I didn't know in the past. Magician is for... Oh, magician then faceless. Oh, I had it backwards. Thank you. Audrey held back her emotions and sincerely thanked the two gentlemen at the ends of the table. Saved Backland, just like Tinkin Man. Olgar was no stranger to the conditions of Eastborough, the factory district, and the dock area. He was more surprised by the description Miss Justice had used. Just how huge was this matter, he thought with an extremely puzzled frown. The son, on the other hand, listened quietly, attentively, and although he couldn't understand all of it, he still listened attentively, hoping to learn more about the regions where Mr. Hangman, Miss Justice, and Mr. World were located. KLEIN only smiled in response to Miss Justice's gratitude and didn't do anything further. He then turned to look at the Hangman. Olgar immediately understood what he meant, and he quickly conjured the last page of the Promised Results diaries. KLEIN received it out of thin air and took on a casual glance at it. 14th of January, I discovered a problem if unconscious high sequence beyond objects are not... Let me read this again. I discovered a problem if unconscious? If unconscious high sequence beyonders objects are not sealed, they would unconsciously attract nearby low sequence beyonders from the same pathway, causing them to come into contact with each other. The higher the original sequence, the more likely this will happen. However, the situation doesn't seem to be a constant. It seems to be intermittent. I read that wrong. I'm sorry. Lore? Yeah, this is new lore. I thought, okay, yeah, this is new lore. This is definitely new lore. However, this situation, I just read this. This diary entry immediately jolted KLEIN to attention because he had made similar guesses before. No way he thought of this. After he came to Backland, he soon found himself intertwined with the secret order with Beyonder of the Seer pathway, and thus found himself in an extremely passive and extremely dangerous situation. However, he had also obtained the corresponding sequence 7, 6, and 5 potion formulas as a result. At that time, he had suspected that his transmigration involved secrets that gave him the power to resurrect, and that he would occasionally attract people and objects related to the Seer pathway, such as the Antigonus family notebook or members of the secret order. Damn. After seeing this diary entry from Emperor Rizal, KLEIN suddenly had a new idea. He used the corner of his eyes to scan the thick gray fog and illusionary dark red stars below him. He muttered to himself in silence. Could it be that the one who created the attractive force wasn't me, but this gray fog, the mysterious space? I thought it was always assumed that it was the gray fog. Could it be that the one who created that attractive force wasn't me, but the gray fog, the mysterious space above the gray fog? That's what I've always assumed. I always assumed that the gray fog chose KLEIN, not that KLEIN necessarily went there himself, right? Like I thought, like the gray fog chose him, right? Yeah, didn't I say along the lines that like I originally like maybe Le Nouveau, like I remember how I told you like. Remember how I told you that I thought Gustav was like a previous version of KLEIN, but he doesn't have those memories? And maybe he had access to the gray fog, right? Right? No, easy actually cooking? Yes! What do you mean, bro? I'm always cooking. Never have I ever uncooked. Come on, man. This could also be considered as a secret behind my transmigration. He's back in the kitchen. You know I'm back. You know I'm back, brothers and sisters. Okay, wait. I'm gonna start reading chat. Maybe I burned the kitchen. Without any further clues or information, KLEIN quickly gathered his thoughts and read the second diary entry. 16th of January, the taste of a demoness still isn't bad. You guys have been... you guys have been saying that, and I find that so funny. The taste of it. You guys have been telling me, but it ain't that bad, right? Oh shit! You guys have been telling me that for so long. So ever since I got sick, it ain't that bad. I understood that. I understood that quote, dude. Oh, not bad at all, brother. You not that bad at all. The taste of a demoness still isn't bad. The corners of Klein's mouth twitch, unsure of what expression he should show. Oh, laughter, bro. Emperor, I have underestimated. There's really nothing stopping you. Don't you care about the other person's previous gender? Don't you care about her experience during the pleasure phase? Suppressing the urge to Oh, now I get the quote. Oh, now I get it. Suppressing the urge to exhale, Klein looked at the last entry in the diary in his hands. I thought it's like when the demoness like gets you sick, right? Because you know how like the last demoness person used like a poison attack. I thought that's what it was referencing. Okay, okay, Rosal, he is literally a Giga Chad. I respect that. I respect my brother. 20th of January, I finished making the second card of blasphemy. Let me think. Where should I hide it? Yes, I plan to disguise it as a bookmark and insert it into a very valuable book. If the person who obtains it isn't someone fated, it would be hard to imagine that the most valuable thing in the book is actually the seemingly ordinary bookmark. Not that bad. That's a good idea. Emperor, why can't you explain more clearly which book did the bookmark go into? Before I read this, I was so happy thinking I can follow the clues and obtain a card of blasphemy containing the profound secrets of the deities. Klein was disappointed. Oh, sorry, I'm still thinking about the quote. Roseau, my French king. How did this man get the idea from that? Bro, easy? What? Easy, you really are real naive. I thought that's what that quote was referencing, dude. I'm sorry. Oh, we're back to streaming. I'm over here laughing my ass off. Because you guys have been telling me that for so long, but I never actually understood what you meant. I hope that there will be more specific information in future entries of the Emperor's diaries. He comforted himself with this sentence, leaned back, and said with a smile, "You can start your discussion freely now." At that moment, the son Derrick raised his hand, having learned it from Miss Justice, and said, "Mr. Roll, the beyond weapon you gave me far exceeded my expectations. I've already accustomed enough contributions pointed to trade for the ingredients to advance the sequence 8. I'll use the remaining contribution points to hire helpers to obtain a chance to obtain the true root and justice of the Miss Trent. I'll be able to complete the deal soon." He explained in great detail, worried that his reputation of keeping his word would be suspected and destroyed. Of course, he was telling the truth. Although the axe didn't match much of his expectations for a beyonder weapon, its power shocked him. The axe can create a powerful lightning bolt in just 2 or 3 strikes, and with the temporary boost from my Bard's power, I can easily fight in close quarters with a Sequence 7 monster. If I were to encounter a monster that's afraid of lightning, I could even easily finish it. I'm now a light supplicant with a certain level of magical spells. My strength has been raised qualitatively. I read that wrong. And I can fight against even more powerful monsters. Derrick Birch felt that he had fallen in love with a beyonder weapon. In the City of Silver, its potency was one of the reasons to like it. The surrounding darkness and monsters in the depths of the darkness forced him to obey the rules for generations. Alright, the gloomy world nodded under Klein's control. He then looked around and asked again, Lady Sirs, do you have any clues regarding the dark patterned Black Panther spinal fluid or a spring of the elf marrow crystals? Those were the ingredients he needed, right? Audrey shook, for being a magician, Audrey shook her head without hesitation. After musing for a few seconds, Olga suddenly said, "There will be a grand event held on the Sonia scene soon. Ships from the 4 pirate kings and the 6 pirate admirals will be participating. Heh. I should call the 7 pirate..." I forget I'm reading One Piece sometimes. Huh? I should call them and the 7 pirate admirals. Another person has joined the ranks. Oh, because of, what was it? Hurricane Quillingus, right? Yeah, because of him, right? Now there's a new person that joined the ranks. There will definitely be transactions of beyond ingredients in such an event. It's very likely that not very rare dark patterned Black Panther spinal fluid or spring of the elves marrow crystals will appear. I have an opportunity to participate in this event, but what can you offer in exchange? I'm sure you don't have the potion formula for Wind Bless, and it will be very difficult for you to find it in the future too. Why? All right, next chapter, bro. Zero stalling. Next chapter, right away, right away. That was a really good chapter, by the way. All right, zero stalling. Chapter 209. I thought I said staller and the notary in one. No, seller. Chapter 291 is called Seller and Notary in one. High probability of appearing. Klein controlled the world and made him laugh deeply. Yes, I really don't have the potion formula for Wind Bless, nor will I have the means to obtain it anytime soon. However, I have an incomplete formula for a Sequence 4 potion. Even though it's incomplete, I think you should know its value very well. It can be exchanged for at least 10,000 gold pounds, and most of the time, you can't even buy it with money worth several times that. This is a crucial step that will lead to a human's qualitative change. So, are you interested? The spinal fluid of a dark pattern Black Panther is worth between 500 700 pounds. Of the Spring of Admiral crystal is between 300 and 400 pounds. I believe you still need to prepare an additional 9,000 pounds in cash or an item of equal value. KLEIN had long since speculated the sequence of the sun sequence pathway, unshadowed, could be swapped with the same sequence of a sailor and reader pathway. How does that, what? So now we know those can flip? Unshadowed could be swapped with the same sequence of sailor and reader pathways. And this conjecture has been indirectly confirmed by Mr. A's request in the information provided in Rizzo's diary. It was even suspected to extend to the secret supplicants and spectator sequence pathway. Therefore, he believed that the incomplete formula of Unshadows was an irresistible temptation for the hangman, who was from the sailor pathway. It doesn't matter if you don't have something worth 9,000 pounds for the time being. You can pay in installments with Mr. Full bearing witness, KLEIN silently added. Currently, he was lacking the spinal fluid of a dark pattern Black Panther, so he didn't mind letting the hangman remain on credit, and in any case, he didn't need to worry about the possibility of him running away. Well, there are also latent risks. I would be at a huge disadvantage if Mr. Hangman suddenly dies. With such an extensive deal at hand, KLEIN couldn't help but feel a little apprehensive. The incomplete formula of a sequence 4 potion, an incomplete formula that leads to the path of a demigod, this is something that you can't even buy with money. Audrey's eyes lit up. She couldn't help hiding her curiosity as she asked before the hangman could speak. Mr. World, can I ask which sequence 4 pathway for the formula pertains to? If it's not convenient to tell me, pretend I never if it's not convenient to tell me, pretend I never asked. Mr. World actually had a sequence 4 potion formula. Even if it's incomplete, it's still very shocking. No wonder Mr. Fool pulled him into the Terror Club. He isn't a simple beyonder. Well, Shio and FORS test mission has come to an end. Mr. Fool didn't mention if he's letting them join. Well, he must have other considerations, and maybe he needs more time to observe them. I shouldn't take the initiative to ask, since it will appear impolite. Many thoughts ran through Audrey's mind at that moment. Miss Justice's question was just what KLEIN wanted. He made the world reply in a husky voice. I was planning to say it anyway. It's the potion formula sequence 4 of the sun pathway unshadowed. Derrick's eyes lit up, bro. The sun pathway. Derrick instantly looked towards Mr. World, who sat other end of the long bronze table, his eyes filled with sudden eagerness and longing. However, he maintained his silence because he knew that he was still far from the threshold of a demigod. He had to spend his limited resources on strengthening himself first. Only caring about the new future was the way the city of Silver operated. This was because to his residents there might not be any future at any moment. Unshadowed, Audrey nodded gracefully and happily said, "Thank you for your answer, Mr. World." She felt like she had learned something important again. Unshadowed, Olga muttered slowly before calmly replying, "I'm sorry, I have no need for it." No need for it? KLEIN was taken aback. This was completely different from the script he had imagined. In shock, he indirectly caused the world to pause, looking incredulous. Oh, so his emotions reflect Mr. World. It took quite a few seconds before he said, "You can first owe a potion." Oh my god, I am mispronouncing today. Whew, man, we're back, bro. We're back. "You can first owe a portion. With Mr. Fool as a witness, I believe you'll definitely make up for the rest." No, I really have no need for it. Olga shook his head. No need for it? He really has no need for it. He's confident that he would gain the favor of the Church of the Lord of Storms and be bestowed with the corresponding potion directly. Or does he actually have the sequence 4 potion formula to the sailor pathway? The name was Cataclysmic Interior? That is a new name. KLEIN quickly thought of two possibilities. What should I do? Don't tell me that I should trade the witch or demoness of pleasure formulas with him. KLEIN silently mocked himself, deliberately making the world silent for a few seconds before saying, "Other potion formulas or some secrets I know, such as secrets of the peak level sequences." Olger changed his seating posture a little as he deliberated before answering. "I personally know some secrets of peak level sequences. How will you guarantee that there's no overlap? How will you guarantee that the secrets you will tell me is equal to the value of the dark pattern Black Panther spinal fluid and the springs of the elves marrow crystals? We'll each give the peak level sequence secret to Mr. Fool and let him decide if there's an overlap and determine the values. Mr. Fool, is that alright?" KLEIN manipulated the world and asked himself the question. Then he said with a supercilious attitude, supercilious attitude? Sure. Olger slowly nodded. I have no problems with that. Let's begin. I really want to know the secrets of a peak level sequence, but I haven't. Wow, my audio gets really muted if I do this. I really want to know the secret of the peak level sequences, but I haven't had an extra money lately to buy it. Audrey shook enviously at the world and the hangman as they each conjured a piece of goatskin parchment. Having never worried about money since she was young, she finally experienced the taste of poverty. Well, because she didn't get her like 10,000 pound monthly allowance. Very soon, KLEIN received the content written by the two members. Without a doubt, he first looked at the goatskin parchment from the hangman and discovered that the content was simple. There was only one sentence: that peak level sequence conceals a path to divinity. Few, great. Otherwise, there would be a need to use other information for the exchange. KLEIN carefully examined the world's goatskin parchment before chuckling softly. It doesn't overlap. To most beyonders, the secrets Mr. World is providing is of no value, but in the eyes of others, it's extremely important. This cannot be measured with money. Hearing this conclusion, Olger immediately... He's going to be so mad when he finds out Mr. World is his Smurf account. Like, they have to find out at one point, right? Like, at one point, they have to find out that he's KLEIN. And then that KLEIN controls world, right? Hearing this conclusion, Olger immediately fell into a dilemma. To let him getting two beyond ingredients at the same time wasn't a small burden. He had to sell many valuable items in order to trade for... Oh, that's why. He had to sell many valuable items in order to trade for them, to pay such a price to hear a secret that might not be very useful to him. Olger considered it for nearly 20 seconds before saying, Mr. Full, can you provide more hints? I can't make a decision yet. Can't make a decision. The corner of eyes' mouths moved slightly. He knew that the words he said to maintain his image had the opposite effect and had been ineffective. He hesitated before a moment and then smiled. The content he describes is a detailed supplement to the secret you know. Detailed supplement. A detailed supplement to the path to divinity. Olger didn't hesitate any longer. He turned his head to look at the world and said in a terse and firm voice, deal. Then he immediately added, I thought it said dabbed. Then he immediately added, I'll help you exchange for the spinal fluid of a dark pattern Black Panther and the spring of elf marrow crystals within the week. Of course, the premise is that they'll appear at the pirates' meet. Although the probability is very high, we still have to believe that anything could happen. If that happens, I might have to postpone it to next week, the following week, or even the next month. But don't worry, I will keep my promise. No problem with Mr. Full as a witness. There's no need for me to worry, the world answered hoarsely. After they had confirmed the transactions, KLEIN conjured a goatskin parchment in front of the hangman. Olger lowered his head eagerly, reading through each word. I can't read that. Each word. Oh my god, I can't read that. I lost my place! Oh my god. Olger lowered his head eagerly, reading through each word voraciously. There is a sequence 0 above sequence 1, and sequence 0 is the sequence of a true god. They can similarly be reached through the corresponding potions and rituals. Sequence 0, the sequence of the true god. That sounds hype. Olger was astonished and shocked at first, but soon he felt relieved, and then he murmured to himself in delight, I see. I understand what it means. He inhaled silently and leaned back in his chair as if nothing had happened. That secret must be astonishing. Mr. Hangman even lost his composure. Audrey looked away with a longing expression and said to the son, who was diagonally opposite her, Mr. Sun, Mr. Sun, I remember you mentioning that the City of Silver has a Dragon Pathway Sequence 9, 8, and 7 potion formulas. Yes, Derrick nodded honestly. Sequence 7 potion formula is a psych analyst. If I wish to get it, what is the price I need to pay? Audrey asked in a reserved manner. The Sequence 7 potion formula is the Sun Pathway, Derrick replied without any hesitation. Audrey nodded gently and said, I'll do my best to obtain it. Huh, Shio and FORS mentioned before that there's a Beyonder of the Sun Pathway at Mr. A's gathering. He is at least Sequence 7 and is adept at purification. Oh, the guy that did the exorcism. He's at least Sequence 7 and is adept at purification and exorcism. Once all the recent events settled, yeah, I remember we met him. I can attempt to get it from him. In addition, yeah, it's when Shio and FORS went up to him, right? Like for a purification. In addition, I should join more of the gatherings at the abandoned education building in the hospital. I should try to come into contact with the members of the psychology alchemists. One of the two paths will definitely lead to something. Thoughts flashed through Audrey's mind, but she suddenly realized that she was unable to obtain it even if she discovered clues from the formula. This was because she would be experiencing a financial crisis for the next few months and was barely holding on. The price of a Sequence 7 formula is around £800, so if I scrimp, I should be able to produce that, It's already October, it's almost New Year's. I'll be an adult then, and I'll have the freedom to handle a lot more of my money? Or should I use the knowledge I was taught by Mr. Fool to trade? I wonder what attitude he has towards that kind of behavior. Audrey's thoughts gradually dispersed. She decided to wait until there was hope for the formula before she asked Mr. Fool. Okay, she wants to wait till there's chance. The transaction segment came to an end. KLEIN originally wanted to use the knowledge he knew to exchange for a mystical item without many negative effects, but after sensing how tight I read that a little wrong. But after sensing how tight the hangman was, he knew that the other party would pay a large price for the two beyonder ingredients. It was unlikely that he had any extra assets, so he could only give up in regrets. As soon as the free exchange segment began, Alger took the initiative to mention Rear Admiral Hurricane Quilliga's ship and crew was subdued, giving the rise to new pirate admiral. That's hype. No, Azdik wasn't the one that purified. No, they're talking about they're talking about the one that FORS and Shio hired. Remember how like they thought that KLEIN was like a possessed spirit or whatever? Update. Thank you. Okay, let's pause, update, and let's continue. All right, next chapter. Chapter 292 is called Exchanging News. And I see my camera's a little crooked. We will fix that when I grab my Celsius water. When we magically pause the recording after this chapter. Audrey was interested in the pirate admiral and asked, what's his name? What was his current title? There hasn't been any related news in Backland. Alger nodded slowly. She's a lady and was a famous pirate in the past. You should have heard for her. Ailment girl Tracy, right? No, Ailment. Did you update timestamps? I didn't update my timestamps. Yeah, I did update it. Yeah, no, we're good. Thank you for double checking with me, Mysterious Fool. I know I always verbally say it when I do it. Thank you. So what's her name? Ailment girl Tracy, right? No, I don't know much about such things. Audrey shook her head and honestly, me too. Sitting at the ends of the table, KLEIN added inwardly. Alger fell silent for 2 seconds and without wasting any time explaining, he said, in short, she subdued the crew of Quilliga's crew last month. She proved herself with actual action that she had the strength of a pirate admiral. She changed her name to Quilliga's ship, the Black Death. Oh, I thought I said the Black Pearl. I was like, that's such a cool reference. She changed the name of the Quilliga ship to the Black Death and calls herself Real Admiral Ailment. Ailment? Here comes the Tracy Sims. I'll say Tracy for now. In the past, she acted independently and was someone who specialized in curses, black flames, and ice. That's cool. What? She has fire and ice? Her enemies would always suffer from sudden elements of... I get the name. They will suffer from various elements of various kinds. At present, no one knows which pathway she belongs to, but they're certain that she's at least sequence 5. Dude, she's almost ready. Audrey listened with relish. She blinked her eyes and requested curiously, Mr. Hangman, can you introduce the 4 pirate kings and the other 6 pirate admirals in detail? I've only heard of their names and titles, but I don't know what beyonder powers they are equipped with. Alger looked around and saw that both the sun and the world were showing signs of attentiveness. He nodded slightly and said, that wouldn't be an issue. The strongest pirate king is king of the 5 seas, Nast? I think Nast was the first name that was ever revealed. Guess the pathway? I don't know. What pathway will she be? She's definitely not a lawyer. Maybe on the criminal pathway, right? Because you're inflicting ailments. Wow, I can't pronounce it. Ailment. Roselle likes reasonable development. They do like it. Tracy is basically like a late. I understood that Monster Hunter reference. Yeah, she's basically Altreon. Yeah, she literally is Altreon, bro. She has different face changes. I'm ready, man. I'm ready. Between fire and ice and then lightning. The strongest pirate king of the 5 seas is Nast. He claims to be the descendant of the 4th epoch Solomon Empire. Not only is he a high sequence beyonder, but he possesses a terrifying ghost ship, Dark Emperor. Oh. Nast is definitely Dark Emperor. A relic of the Empire. He's adapted using... So, Nast is dark. He's a Dark Emperor. I think she has to be on criminal, right? If she's using like all those different abilities, maybe, right? It's like an arsonist, right? Like they're burning or all that. He can pull his enemies into combat in his domain. What is this, Jujutsu Kaisen? He can pull his enemies in. Wait, what? He's adept at using order. Wow, I am stuttering. I apologize, man. He's adept at using order. He can pull his enemies into combat in a domain that he's best at and create fascinating effects. He's also the oldest pirate in the world. Rumor has it that he's over 100 years old. Okay. and he has been active in the 5 Seas since the Roselle era. No one knows exactly how old he is, so he knows Roselle. Of course, compared to the other Pirate Kings, there's a lot of information about him. As the owner of Dawn, all we know is that she's a beautiful woman. She was once a warlock, and she's a warlock, and is now a demigod. She calls herself Queen Mystery. One will say a true Lord of Mystery. After introducing the 4 kings, Olger changed the topic to the 6 remaining pirate admirals. The owner of the Black Tulip, Ludwil, was once a subordinate of the King of the 5 Seas. Later, he became independent and calls himself Admiral Hell. Rumor has it he's established certain connections with the numinous Episcopate. He's a powerful medium and can control all sorts of creatures in the spirit world. He's terrifying and odd. Rumor has it that he possesses a ring left behind from the ancient era's death. Watch it be like another copper whistle, right? Oh no, it's not a copper whistle. Watch him possess like a silver whistle, right? And then there's gonna be like a gold whistle. Oh, I already know it. I can see the setup. I can see the setup. Rumor has it that he possesses a ring left behind by the ancient era's death. Admiral of the Stars, Catalia, was once a flower of Queen Mystery, but they've long become estranged. The reason for that, according to rumors, is because she joined a particular secret organization, angering Queen Mystery, and according to the information I know, the secret organization is the Moses a Sect Order. The Moses a Sect Order, the Mystery Prior Pathway, the Hidden Sage. Klein suddenly thought of Old Neil's loss of control and the evil god who would whisper temptations into the ears of the low sequence beyonders of the same sequence. This was the first time he learned news regarding the Moses a Sect Order through reality instead of books. That is true. Then Olger introduced Admiral of the Blood Censor, who was suspected to be a non-human. Oh, bro, easy cooking good. We're always cooking, bro. I am stuttering so many words, and this is kind of like, I'm not saying this is a lore over, like, I'm not saying this is too much lore, but it's kind of crazy. Like, we're back, and I'm already kind of getting overwhelmed. There's so many pathways in this series, man. It's hard to keep track of everything. Oh man, I have to go through my loads. I have to go through my notes again. I am typing all this in the Lord Discord. Thank you, Romero. Oh my god. Then all. Oh man, I am so out of it today. I apologize. Thank you, Lurking. We're always cooking. I don't know what I said, but we're always cooking. I mean, sequence 4 is called Demigod? Probably. If this video gets 1.5 likes, Easy Geek will be obligated to play a game of Chat's Choice. Yes, we will play a game of Chat's Choice. I got you. I'll even play like Hatsuno Miku, bro. I'll play it with you guys. I'll play whatever you guys want. Wait, sorry. One more pause. This, let's reread from here after our slight tangent. This was the first time he learned news regarding the Moses Sect Order through reality instead of books. Then Olger introduced Admiral of Blood Senior, who was suspected to be non-human. Rear Admiral Deep of Sea Howl Constantine. I like Constantine. I'm really excited for Constantine too. Who possessed a bloodline that was partly from sea monsters. Rear Admiral Iceberg Edwina Edwards and oh my, I am mispronouncing all these words. And Rear Admiral Dusk Bulatov Eon. Oh my, I need Google Translate. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. I'm beginning to yearn for the sea. I'm not. This is confusing. No, I'm kidding. I am. Audrey said, filled with longing, I don't know when I'll be able to truly travel. No, Miss Justice, it's absolutely not as nice as you imagine. From my point of view, it's an amalgamation of blood, chaos, murder, desire, and horror. Olger calmly doused her enthusiasm. Audrey nodded and switched topics. There have been 11 serial murders in Backland recently, but one of them has been proven to be a copycat crime. The serial killings are against a woman who were street girls, but are now working normal professions. The murderer cuts open their stomachs and removes all their internal organs. Yeah, ended up being Lenavus. Wait, no, Lenavus was the copycat killer. So it could, the real murderer could still be Jack the Ripper. Yeah, the murderer cuts open their stomachs and removes all of the internal organs. This sounds like something to do with devil worship. Was it done by someone from the Blood Sanctity sect? Alger instantly made a guess. Yeah, it probably is. It probably is Jack the Ripper. I don't know. The murderer hasn't been found yet. Audrey yearned for to become a detective, bringing Susie along and capturing the cursed murderer. At this moment, she wants to be a detective? Audrey yearned to become a detective. She can learn a thing or two from KLEIN. Bringing Susie along and capturing the cursed murderer. Wait, is that why in the fan art not Audrey, Susie has like the detective cap with glasses? No way. So she does become a detective. KLEIN looked thoughtfully at the sun, waiting for him to say. I skipped like a whole paragraph. At this moment, Derrick blurted out in a daze, I know about such rituals. He knows, that's right, before the Cataclysm, especially during the Second Epoch, devils were active in the real world where they lived on the ground. They were the objects of hatred for both giants and dragons. It's normal for the City of Silver to have relevant records. Their history hasn't been tampered with, nor has there been any blanks over the generations. KLEIN looked through at the sun, waiting for him to say more. You know about this, Audrey asked in joy. Derrick nodded. It's mentioned in our devil studies. It's rather ancient. The devils use it as a ritual to supplement their advancement, typically used when advancing from sequence 6 to 5. It is not a ceremony to please the devil, but a ceremony for the devils to assist them in advancing. Audrey asked in surprise. Derrick replied very seriously, that's right, the Abyss Pathway sequence 6 is called Devil. This is also the origin of that race's name. Oh, like the succubus, right? That would be the origin of the race name. The Abyss Pathway. What? The Abyss Pathway? This is new. Before the Cataclysm, the Devil Pathway was called the... Oh, I lied. Before the Cataclysm, the Devil Pathway was called the Abyss Pathway, and Devil is the only name of sequences. Could sequence 0 be Abyss? Again, KLEIN discovered the valleys of the sun. A lot of the knowledge and mysteries were lost across the river of history, but the City of Silver still possessed them. Is that so? Audrey nodded indiscriminately. Mr. Sun, are you aware of the actual details of the ritual? Derrick nodded and said, the minimum requirement is 13 and the highest is 49? The more complete the ritual, the higher the chance of advancement. Between two... Oh, the amount of people they have to kill. Oh, and they've killed 11. So we're at least facing with a sequence 5, Jack the Ripper, right? Bro, that's hype. Oh, are you telling me KLEIN has to fight somebody at sequence 5? Or like when he eventually becomes sequence 6? That sounds hype. The minimum requirements is 13 because 13 is an unlucky number. I get it. And the highest is 49. The more complete the ritual, the higher the chances of advancement. Between two murders, there must be a minimum of 3 days. Otherwise, it would be easy to lose control. But the interval will also not exceed 9 days. This was called the ritual to reset. Every time a murder occurs and after every partial ritual, the devil will eat the victim's organs. From this point, that's why he chops them up. From this point on, he'll be in a violent and bloodthirsty state, wishing to harm others until the desire is satisfied once again. That's really scary. Audrey sighed from the bottom of her heart, feeling that she couldn't even bear to imagine it. KLEIN sat in the thick gray fog, quietly listening and remembering. After discussing the case of the serial killer, Audrey looked at Alger and organized her words. Mr. Hangman, there's something I've been wondering about. I've attended several Beyonder gatherings and find very few people sell potion formulas. Even if there is one, would it be very difficult for the transaction to close? Why is this? Alger chuckled and said, that's because a potion formula is easy to fake. That is true. Yeah, you can just be like, oh, you just need water. It's easy to fake, and the Beyonder gatherings are relatively hitting and not too binding. Therefore, no one dares to risk their lives. Are you going to prepare 2 sets of Beyonder ingredients and conduct an experiment with animals first? That price is too high. Audrey suddenly felt a little guilty. Moreover, that's not the only extra cost. Animals can lose control more easily than humans after taking potions. You have to hire a few Beyonders to protect you, to prevent you. No. No way. I don't even want to read chat, bro. I'm gonna say it once. If fucking Susie loses control, I'm not reading this for a month. I swear. I swear. I'm not even gonna read chat. I'm just making a verbal comment, If anything happens to our beautiful dear Susie, and I'm not even reading chat. I see a new message. I'm not even reading those messages. If anything happens to her, we are going into the Void Arc season 2. They bet because it's gonna take so long to recover from that. I thought Volume 1 was bad. You guys were telling me it gets even crazier and sadder. I don't like the setup. Everything that ever gets mentioned in this series happens for a reason. There's no such thing as a coincidence. So why else would they be saying this? Moreover, that's not the only extra cost. Animals can lose control more easily than humans after taking potions. Oh no. I'm not reading chat. I'm not reading chat for like 10 minutes. You have to, or at least until all this topic, or at least until we're done with this part. You have to hire a few Beyonders to protect you, to prevent you from dying during your experiments. So for most Beyonders, even if a formula appears, they wouldn't dare buy it. Olger added. Audrey felt even guiltier. Olger didn't notice her reaction and continued. Because of this, unless the host or a member of the gathering has the ability to appraise the authenticity of the potion. Oh, like the Mr. A. The guy with the mask, right? Unless somebody has the ability to praise the authenticity of the potion formula and has already won the trust of most members, it's difficult for a formula trade to close. Well, the old Mr. Eye of Wisdom can. Mr. A is the shepherd, so he should be able to. Klein leaned back in his chair and muttered something to himself in silence. A thought flashed through Audrey's mind as she asked, can't it be done by making an oath? Oh. Honorable lady, this is an underground gathering. Do you think it's suitable to make an oath in the name of one of the 7 Orthodox gods? This isn't something that can be... No, they would make their oath to Mr. Fool. This isn't something that can be resolved with an oath. A corresponding ritual is needed. Augur chuckled. As for other evil gods or devils in mysterious existence like the hidden stage and the true creator, unless you're their believer, who would dare to swear an oath in their name? Wouldn't they be wishing death upon themselves? At this point, he sighed. In addition, without them knowing the acting method, potions easily lead to the loss of control, easily turning people into monsters. Furthermore, the corresponding ingredients and hard to obtain and rather expensive. Therefore, as long as the 7 churches don't allow such trades to officially recognize, there's no need for them to deliberately control and spread the potion formulas on a wide scale, much less talk about advancement. So that's how it is. Audrey murmured to herself, clearing a huge question in her mind. No wonder. Klein suddenly came to a realization. 7 Orthodox gods. Derrick really wanted to ask which 7 they were, but he ultimately held himself back. He thought for a moment and said, the city of Silver has recently organized an expedition to explore deep into the darkness and found the semi-destroyed temple. The statue that's worshipped inside was a naked man nailed upside down on a cross. Oh, the true creator. There were also a lot of bloodstains on the surface. Do you know which god that is? This is the true creator. The Forsaken Land of the gods actually has a temple of the true creator. Judging from what the sun said, the true creator shouldn't exist before the cataclysm. Otherwise, it would be impossible for the city of Silver to not recognize it. Klein used his clown ability to control his expression to prevent the shock from showing on his face. What does that mean? Wait. Lore Overlord. Let me reread this. This is the true creator. The Forsaken Land of Gods actually has a temple of the true creator. Judging from what the sun said, the true creator shouldn't exist before the cataclysm. Otherwise, it would be impossible for the city of Silver to not recognize it. Klein used his clown ability to control his expression to prevent the shock from showing on his face. Just as the hangman and the world exchanged looks, shook their heads and said in unison, we don't know. Just as they finished speaking, they heard Mr. Fool and the Gray Fox say in a deep voice, that's the fallen creator? Sick. Okay, that's hype. Oh man, so much happened this chapter, dude. Oh my god, we learned about every single One Piece character and we got more lore. Shit, dude, man, there is way too much happening after coming back after like a month. This is a little too lore heavy today, man, but this is exciting. All right, let's pause, update, and let's continue. No, hold up. Yes, this is a really good discussion, Bullseye and Haley. What about later? I don't know, man. I think I need more of them. But the top 3 that will hurt me the most if these characters die: Benson, Melissa, Susie. I'm not gonna fall for a Zik's death because I'm already under the impression that a Zik is deaf. He's not just a descendant of death. I think he's deaf himself, right? That's why every time he dies and reawakes, wait, no, that's been confirmed, right? Every time he loses his memory, he probably loses his memory in death. When he dies, he gets reborn as a new character. Confirmed, unconfirmed. So it's like, I know when he dies, he won't be a Zik. He'll be like Bazik, right? He'll be like a new person, right? But it's like that's not gonna affect me. But the other three, that's gonna hurt me more than anything I read in volume 1. That will definitely hurt me the most. Okay, now let me pause, make sure everything's good, and we'll continue. Wait, hold up. The cook? You know we're cooking. You know, bro, I don't even know what you were referencing when you said cook, but there's those two things. All right, let's continue. Let's just go straight to the next chapter. 293 is called Derrick's Worry. Okay, perfect, beautiful. I want to know more about Derrick. Let's find out. The fallen creator, Derrick frowned immediately. Thank you to the dirty of you guys watching with me right now, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. This it's fun, man. I've noticed there's been a little bit more of you guys today now. That's cool, man. Thank you. That means a lot to me, dude. The fallen creator, Derrick frowned immediately. The residents of the City of Silver has always believed in the omnipotent and omniscient God, the Lord that created everything. Therefore, he heard a similar name with the word fallen tagged to it. He couldn't help but instinctively reject and feel uncomfortable about the notion. Fallen creator, that's the way Mr. Fool addressed the true creator. So the image of this evil God, but why would his statue and the temple appear within the City of Silver exploration confines? This place is suspected to be the forsaken lands of gods, or perhaps before it was abandoned by the gods, there was already the faith of the true creator. Could the holy residence that the Aurora Order always talks about be the forsaken land of gods? Oh, maybe. They've been probably referencing the forsaken land this entire time. Many thoughts came to Augur, but he couldn't make an accurate judgment because the history before the cataclysm had long evolved into the myths and legends. It couldn't simply be described as information shrouded in fog. He thought for 2 seconds and deliberately said, "We have another name for the fallen creator. It's the true creator. The faction that believes in him is in control of the Beyonder pathways, such as the Secret Supplicants, Listener, and Shadow sect. The subsequent sequence includes Shepherd, you mentioned before. So far, as of right now, Shepherd is still like my favorite pathway. It's like, it's hands down, so far, Shepherd is like my favorite. Like top 3 right now. The silent Derrick sat up straight, his eyes filled with horror. He wasn't unfamiliar with the Beyonder pathways which the hangman had referred to, other than some of the sequence being described with similar words in the City of Silver. For instance, the Whispered and Listener. So that strange and evil statue represents the Secret Supplements pathway. Elder Lavia is already a shepherd. She's been acting more and more strangely. Derrick suddenly... just gonna lose control. Derrick suddenly started to worry about the 6 council... Wait, what? Derrick suddenly started to worry about the 6-member council's newly advanced elder and the safety of the City of Silver. In the past, when they explored the surrounding areas, the City of Silver had found new cities. They were completely destroyed. In those places, only a few pieces of rubble have been carved with words that prove the existence of such a civilization. You have to wake up in 6 hours? Give me some ASMR. I got you. These words... No, wait. I read that wrong. Here. ASMR LOTM. These words were all filled with variations of the dragons, Jotun and Elvish, and the most of them briefly describe one kind of existence. Your goat is washed. Your goat is washed, Romero. I didn't say that. Lurking said that. These words were all variations of the Dragoness, Jotun, and the Elvish, and the most of them repeatedly describe one kind of existence. The existence was called the Evil God. The residents of the City of Silver, who was involved in the expedition, were guessing that those cities were destroyed by the Evil God. So after finding out that the Elder Lavia pathway was probably controlled by an evil god, how could Derrick not be shocked, worried, and terrified? That doesn't... I'm gonna lose control if he keeps doing it. Okay, I'll stop. He returned... He returned to his taciturn state, disappointing Audrey. I read that wrong. He returned to his taciturn state. I'm gonna stop embarrassing myself and continue. Disappointing Audrey, who had been waiting to hear more stories about the City of Silver. After so many gatherings, after her purchase of the Dragon's Race intelligence, her interest towards the City of Silver had grown even more. His reaction is a little different from what I expected. Augur observed calmly for a while, but he failed to gain anything from it. For a moment, he couldn't find a point of entry in the conversation, and if he asked directly, he suspected that the son would request payment, which wasn't an easy task for him since he was burdened with the debt of 2 Beyond ingredients. It was at this moment that they simultaneously heard the sound of the table being tapped gently. KLEIN concealed his fatigue with a thick gray fog and said with a chuckle, "Let's end today's gathering here. Your will is our will." Audrey immediately stood up and courtesed with her illusionary skirt. The hangman, the sun, and the world successively replied with similar words. KLEIN waved his hands and served the connections quietly, watching the blurry shadows of Miss Justice and the others disappear into thin air. Then he made his smurf the world disappear. Then he picked up the small badge which he had obtained from Lenavus and studied it. You can join if you have the item. I forgot that's what he left behind. KLEIN read the sentence on the back of the badge, but realized it didn't undergo any changes. He thought for a moment and carefully injected spirituality into it. A layer of faint light bloomed and quietly condensed into the light beam, shooting out of the gray fog. However, it was repelled by the endless gray fog. The beam of light suddenly dispersed, transforming into a palm-sized piece of illusionary goatskin parchment. On it was written in ancient facing, January 4th, 1350, 8 p.m. in Babur Valley? A simple communication device in the field of mysticism. It sends out messages, requests, synchronization, and gets the latest... Let me reread this again. A simple communication device in the field of mysticism. It sends out messages, requests, synchronization, and gets the latest oh my god, I know what it means. Times and venue. KLEIN recalled the scene he had just seen and made a preliminary judgment on the use of the badge. 1350, that's next year. The Babur Valley lies in the area before the Tusik River enters Backland. The time is precise, but the venue is vague. It's a valley that's almost 100 kilometers long. Perhaps this badge can be used as a location tool when one gets there. KLEIN turned the badge over with interest, trying to figure out the corresponding symbols, incantations, and characteristics. This is definitely going to come back in like a 1 year time skip to see if he could copy one himself. Unfortunately, since he was no longer part of the Nighthawks, his knowledge of mysticism was still at the same level as before. He had no opportunities of improving it further. Therefore, after studying it for a few minutes, he could only helplessly give up. As for the phrase, you can join if you have this item, KLEIN's plan was to not consider it for the time being. If I can become a faceless by the end of this year, I can head there in disguise. No freaking shot he's going to pretend to be Lenavus in 1 year. If I can become a faceless by the end of this year, then I can head there in the disguise as who else? Lenavus. Otherwise, forget it. KLEIN silently said to himself, then this is going to happen in 1 year. KLEIN silently said to himself, then he turned his... I hope it doesn't take us a year to get to that point, but that's definitely going to happen 1 year in the series. KLEIN silently said to himself, then he turned his attention to the matter of advancing to magician. The true root and juice of the mistrend is likely in the bag with the sun. If my luck isn't too bad, I should be able to get the spinal fluid of a dark pattern Black Panther this week. Sequence 7, a mid-sequence I can already see and touch. Huh, how should a magician act? Just continue being a magician, just like a seer. As he thought about it, KLEIN began to consider specific issues. Like, is he going to be like a Gandalf magician, or is he going to be like a carnival magician, right? As he thought about it, KLEIN... in my mind, I've always assumed magician is like Gandalf. Gandalf the Wise. You know, he's going to be shooting like fire from his hands from a wand, but I don't think that's the case. It's probably going to be like similar to like a carnival, right? Like a carnival magician. As he thought about it, KLEIN began to consider specific issues. Due to his experiences before and after his death and resurrection, he instantly comprehended the true essence of clown. Therefore, in this month or so, he only needed constant acting in his daily life to gradually digest it. He didn't need to make further summaries and adjust it according to the feedback. After killing Lenavus and attaining his initial revenge, the clown potion was completely digested the moment he was laughing amid tears. Oh, when he was laughing like a maniac. Oh my god, wait! That fight is like my favorite fight now. I completely forgot that the reason he digested his clown potion was because he started laughing, right? Like, but he was like cry laughing. Damn, man. That fight goes hard. And my second favorite fight was the Magus fight. Okay, hold up. The Magus fight and Lenavus, they're like tied neck and neck, right? The clown potion was completely digested the moment he was laughing amid tears. This wasn't the same as the process in which KLEIN first digested the seer potion. It was considered a special case, and now he had to return to such situations with the magician's acting. The true essence of a magician, to pass off the illusionary with the genuine. According to what Zaratul said in the Emperor's Diaries, although the main focus of this pathway isn't fate, a portion of it still belongs to it. So there must be something corresponding to it. For example, it might seem that fate can be changed to a certain extent, like a magician. But in the end, it turns out to be an illusion. It's just a magic trick that fools you. KLEIN rubbed his temples, then wrapped his remnant spirituality around himself and descended into the gray fog. St. George Boros, Street George Boros, St. George Boros, and a 2-bedroom apartment. Fortunately, I prepared another place like this, otherwise I wouldn't even know where to hide. FORS stared into the mirror and removed her dropping hair. That's right, Shio replied weakly, lying in bed. I just read in the newspapers that Lenibus is dead, but this matter involves godhood, so it won't end so soon. We have to hide for a while. No, it's you who's going to hide, not me. I'm an upright clinical doctor, the author of a bestseller. FORS looked at herself in the mirror and began putting on a simple makeup. Shio, she's dead. Shio couldn't provide a rebuttal as she slowly sat up and said, thankfully, I was sufficiently clever and possesses rich experience. When I got someone to make the report, I didn't directly say that it involved the godhood of the true creator. I only described it as seemingly very dangerous and that the target had experienced huge changes, like he was praying to evil gods. If not, I wouldn't even dare to say in backland. To the embroiled in high-level battle sure is troublesome and dangerous. I don't know. I don't want to take on any more Miss Audrey missions again. Really? Really? FORS asked without looking back. Shio fell silent for a few seconds and said, actually, there was no need for us to mention the godhood. Since Miss Audrey was able to discover this on her side, the Church of the Goddess would definitely be capable of doing so. They've mostly likely killed Giant, right? Giant? They've most likely killed Giant, right? I can't be sure. FORS replied without mincing her words. Shio FORS then let out a long, slow sigh. FORS stopped what she was doing, turned her back to look at her, and said, this mission was basically completed by you, so I won't be sharing the payment with you. There's a total of £200, so with the £70 you saved up, even if you deduct the expenses... I do need my Celsius water. You should be close to obtaining the first beyond ingredients for the sheriff potion, but I wouldn't be able to receive the £100 from the police so quickly. Shio pursed her lips. This wasn't to say that the police wasn't willing to give the bounty money, but that she couldn't take it directly. She had to go through the friend who had helped her deliver the clues. This was the official bounty receipt. Since she believed that this matter would definitely cause a huge ruckus, she didn't have the guts to find her friend at any time soon. As for whether the friend would usurp the bounty, she was quite confident the other party had helped too many shady bounty hunters before. I forgot there's bounty hunters in this series. I forgot about that. It was fine to take a commission, but if he dared to directly usurp all of the bounty money, he would have already died in some unknown dark alley. But it was ultimately... Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. But it was ultimately belonged to you. FORS paused for 2 seconds and seriously asked, when you've collected enough money, will you contact the masked guys and work for him so that you can purchase the corresponding ingredients for him? No, unless I can't get it anywhere else, that there's no hope. Shio gave her answer. And Empress Boro, the opulent villa of Count Hall. Audrey was still reminiscing over today's gathering when she suddenly saw her personal maid, Annie, coming over with a piece of paper. Miss, here's your telegram. Annie smiled and said, it's from the east coast of Balam. Alfred. Audrey happily received it and read it carefully. Dear sister, the rainbow salamander that you asked for has arrived at Prince Harbor last night. My orders are to deliver it to you in your manor in the suburbs, arriving last night. Then it'll be delivered to my manor as early as today and by the latest tomorrow. Audrey tilted her head to the side and looked at Susie, who was fighting with her snacks. With a shallow smile, she said, oh wait, no, it's not Susie. No, it's Susie. Susie, the gifted I prepared for you is almost here. Woof. Like she said woof in common tongue instead of like actually barking. Woof. Susie looked at her mistress in confusion. Oh no, wait, no, yeah. She's ready. Susie? Path of Pain and Music Domain. Music change soon? Bet. Alright, 294. I don't know what. Wait. Don't reveal what kind of music to play yet. Don't tell me if it's like a hype track or if it's like a mystery track. But I will have the music playlist opened after we pause and go grab my Celsius water. Zero stalling with the power of magic. We're back in like 2 seconds. Chapter 294 is called Admiral of Stars. Ring, ring, ring. KLEIN circled the lawn behind the leopard's house for a few times on the bicycle that the inventor had just... Oh, they finished the bike. A few times on the bicycle that the inventor had just completed. It's not bad. It's just as I expected. But there's no need to make a lone standing bell. The cyclist won't be able to won't be able to free hand when they encounter a situation. You can combine the bell to the handle. This will make it simpler and more adequate for situation developments. Client's right hand clasps the brake tight, slowing the bike down to a stop. Meanwhile, he placed the bell in his left hand back to its original spot. Leopard thought for a moment. Yes, that's right. I was simply imitating the ringing bells of the carriages and forgot that this is a brand new mode of transportation. At this point, he looked at Klein, who was getting off the bike with great familiarity as he placed it on the rack. You give me the feeling that you've ridden a similar type of transportation tool before, and you rode it very well. I'm sure all other bikes on the market are very flawed and very different from my bike. Sir, do you have a time to learn more about bicycle sharing systems? As a clown, I should actually be able to ride a unicycle. Klein silently lampooned before smiling. That's what I want to see. I want to see him on a unicycle. This has nothing to do with experience. The key is outstanding balance and exercise. He quickly changed the subject, but based on your introduction just now, the production cost is quite high and it's quite at odds with our product's market segment. You have to come up with a plan as soon as possible to reduce the cost, and you have to understand that noble magnates and other people of high class of society will definitely not choose to ride their own bicycles. It would be disgraceful. At the same time goes for the middle class with an annual income of 300 pounds and higher. Our target audience are clerks, postmen, so-called working class aristocrats, and people who earn between 70 to 300 pounds a year. This is just a prototype, a term invented by the Emperor Rizal. It's normal to have a high cost. Its subsequent industrialization, if is successful, I believe it wouldn't be a problem to lower it to 6 pounds. If we can find a cheaper replacement material for natural rubber, it'll be even better. That's the most expensive component. Lepard had long considered this problem as he replied, unfortunately, no oil. Unfortunately, no crude oil has been found in this world yet. I wonder if it actually exists or not. Can refined coal tar be a replacement in this aspect? I don't know about this at all. I'm neither a student of this profession nor a savant. Klein thought for a moment and said, if the cost can be kept below 4 pounds, we'll be rich. If the cheap material used to replace natural rubber, you can go through Rizal's manuscript. Maybe he has some ideas. Yes. Lepard said before he suddenly added, speaking of which, I just remember that there will be Emperor Rizal Memorial Exhibition at the Royal Museum next week. It's organized by the Church of the God of Steam and Machinery. Rumor has it that there will be the original blueprints of Emperor Rizal's inventions and all kinds of relics. Leonardo da Vinci, bro? Like, what else did he make? The original invention blueprints and all kinds of relics. Klein's heart skipped a beat and pressed. When is it exactly? There's definitely going to be a fight in that museum. When is it exactly? I'm very interested. From next Tuesday to next Friday, every day from 9 in the morning to 6 in the afternoon. Although Emperor Rizal was once the enemy of the kingdom, the allure of the legacy of the legendary life hasn't declined because of this. It'll take some time out of my schedule to visit the exhibition. Klein fished out his bulging wallet and took out 2 10-pound and 2 5-pound notes. Here's the second payment. Use it to study how cut costs and make the most perfect application of the patent at the patent office. If you don't have a lawyer, you know, I can introduce one. At the last 20 pounds will be given to you next week to find new investors and complete the industrialization of the product. Of course, I'll also help you get in touch with people who are interested. He had never thought of monopolizing the profits of a bicycle. First, he lacked the money for mass production, and second, he believed that he lacked the social connections needed for industrialization, promotion, and sales. He could barely do it himself or hire people to do it. It was hard work with no guarantee of success. It was even possible that he might make a loss. In that case, it would be better to bring in new investors with relevant resources and channels and let the professionals handle the professional work. More importantly, he would then have the opportunity to cash out a certain amount of shares in advance, accumulating the resources and cash that he needed to advance to Faceless. He wanted to avoid running into a situation when he encountered the ingredients but lacked the money to buy them. Besides, I have no intention to be a bicycle tycoon. My identity is sensitive. I should stay away from things that might draw society's attention towards me before I become Faceless. I'm acting as a magician, not a businessman or a factory owner. Klein sighed in his heart. So until he becomes a Faceless, he can't be on the spotlight. I respect that. I know several lawyers. Lepard muttered and received the second round of investment funds. Why don't you go to the bank and apply for a loan? When we get that patent, I'm sure that a bank will loan us money, like the Backland Bank or the Varvent Bank. We're not just bringing in investors, but resources, channels, connections, and skills. Do you understand? Klein explained with a smile. He then put on his hat and said, when you've applied for a patent, send me a letter. You know my address. On the Sonia Sea stood an island with an extinct volcano. Oh, the meeting. One by one ships with... Oh my god, this is hype. One by one ships with masts and sails approached the shore, crowding up the reasonable sizable wharf. The sound of the pirates singing, shouting, laughing, cursing, and cheering filled the air. This is really hype, dude. This is so different from everything we've read so far. This is like a pirate gathering. Filled the air, turning the place into a sea of revelry. The hangman Alger Wilson stepped off the Blue Avenger and climbed a cliff not far away and watched all of this in silence. With the exception of the 4 kings and the 7 pirate admirals, the rest of the pirates only received the news of the event a week ago. Most of them won't be able to arrive in time, and this will prevent the naives of the different countries and the powerful beyonders from various churches to launch an assault. Oh, that's true. What was it, like the actual machine boats? They have to be careful with that, right? Alger watched the pirates carrying out buckets of ale without his attention. I'm so sorry. Alger watched the pirates carrying out buckets of ale without his attention on them. He knew that the Lowen Kingdom already had a new generation of ironclad warships, but he wasn't worried about meeting one here. This was because only 4 months had passed and the advertised invincible fleet still needed more ironclad warships and different types of ships for support, as well as the time to train military officers, sailors, and gunners. There was no way they could create a combat force without a year's time. I want to see if Easy can catch the foreshadowing. But we always catch never have we ever missed a single foreshadowing. There's no way that they could create a combat force without a year's time. Even as Alger's thoughts drifted away, the pirates on the ship and wharf suddenly cried out in alarm. Some ran deep into the island, some hurriedly steered their ships away from the wharf as if they were running from the devils in plague. In just a few minutes, the bustling scene from before was reduced to a desolate mess and silence. Alger turned his head to look at the sea and saw a ship painted black with a huge white flag with a skull hanging from its mast. The Black Death? The skull was pitch black and its eyes sockets burned with a ghostly blue flame. Black Death, Alger whispered. He understood why the pirates had scurried off. Oh, that's why they left. He understood why the pirates had scurried off. Wherever Rear Admiral Element Tracy passed, she would leave a wake of people who got sick for no reason. We gotta stay away from her. We're trying to be healthy. Black Death approached the shore slowly as a figure wearing a white linen shirt and a dark red coat appeared at the ship's bow. The figure was quite a beautiful lady, and she also exuded a heroic vibe. Her beautiful black hair was coiled up high and she had a white scarf wrapped around her. She wore beige pants and had a tall and slender figure, and it had no lack of elegance. What attracted the most attention was the woman's long, straight eyebrows and the sharp, bright blue eyes. As she looked around, her eyes would occasionally lose focus, making her look adrift and exceptionally alluring. A wandering poet who had mixed himself with the pirates had arrived at the edge of the cliff. At some point, he began reciting, She will always be a girl. She indeed brings ailments. Oh, I'm sick. My mind is so full of her. A number of pirates who left gathering once again as they looked at the ailment maiden Tracy mesmerized. Alger held back his feelings of contempt as she glanced at the pirates and scoffed inwardly. Truly a bunch of fellows with no future will. All they knew was hide moments ago, but now they've become seduced by her beauty. Wait, who's saying this? Is that Leonard? A wandering poet who had mixed himself with the pirates had arrived at the edge of the cliff at some point. He began reciting. It has to be Leonard. He became a Red Glove member. He has more access than just Tinkin City. She's wearing a red dress. It has to be Leonard. She would always be a girl. She indeed breaks elements. Oh, I'm sick. My mind is full of her. A number of pirates who left gathered once again as they looked at the element matey Tracy mesmerized. Alger held back his feelings of contempt as he glanced at the pirates, scoffed inwardly. Truly a bunch of fellows with no future will. All they knew was hide moments ago, but now they've become seduced by her beauty. Although Element Maiden is indeed very beautiful, it's not to the extent that it will cause them to act this way. Oh, a beyonder power related to allurement. We learn that characteristics can draw in people, right? Maybe she... She's not a person. She is an what was the word we just read a few chapters ago? She's an unsealed artifact that's a cook. Oh, what is he cooking? Oh my god. Admiral Element Tracy is an unsealed artifact, just like the puppet. And that's why she's alluring people. What? Oh. I think that's a pretty good theory. He's definitely... That's all I got. Just like the puppet, maybe she's like... I think we cooked. Leave the cooking to me. All right, I'll leave it there. Or maybe, you know, like the crazy thing was just Leonard in this chapter. Leonard, right? Wait. Yeah, look. Oh, a beyonder power related to allurement. As his mind was whirling, Rear Admiral Element Tracy... This is such a hard name to pronounce. Rear Admiral Element Tracy left Black Death and began walking to the Black Palace deep within the island. At that moment, a huge sailboat appeared on the sea. Its flag depicted an eyelashless eye with 10 stars surrounding it. We have not seen that before. Admiral of Stars, Catalia. Alger nodded gently and muttered silently. Since the Black Death and the other ships were already docked at the wharf, the huge ship didn't approach the shore. Instead, it went around the sheltered cliff and anchored. Soon after, the gloomy sky suddenly lit up and bits of stellar radiance sprinkled down, condensing in the air to form a transparent long bridge. Soon after, the gloomy sky suddenly lit up, and bits of stellar radiances sprinkled down, condensing in the air to form a transparent long bridge. It led from the giant sable to the palace. A woman stepped onto the bridge and began strolling through there. What kind of ability is that? She wore a black classical robe with numerous symbols and magic characteristics inscribed on it. The most obvious one was a mysterious eye with no eyelashes. The true creator? Hanging on the woman's waist, there was a celestial globe and a short scepter. She resembled powerful warlocks who were active in the 4th epoch according to folklore. Alger looked up and frowned slightly as he muttered in puzzlement. That celestial globe looks familiar. It's like the strange glass bottle I previously obtained in the beginning of the series. That is such a really big callback. It's like the strange glass bottle I previously obtained, like when he first entered the gathering. The one I had no idea how to use. It eventually shattered after Mr. Fool pulled me into the gathering. On the outskirts of the Emperor's Borough, Audrey led her maids and the huge golden retriever Susie into her own manor. Miss, the delivery from Enement Harbor is just ahead. The butler in charge of the manor said, No, I want to go back, bro. That was so good. Miss, the delivery from Enement Harbor is just ahead. The butler in charge of the manor said in a respectful tone. All right. Audrey nodded slightly and said half jokingly to the large golden retriever beside her, Susie, this is your present. Is it the potion? As they spoke, they turned a corner and saw the so-called gift. It was a giant lizard whose skin changed color depending on how the light hit it. It was 3 meters long, and its height reached Audrey's knees, even with it laying on the ground. They were 2 colossal creatures enormous enough to frighten a child. Woof. Woof. She turned her head to look at her mistress and saw that her expression was exactly the same as hers. Apparently, she hadn't expected the gift to be so exaggerated. It's a potion formula. That's hype. It is peak itself. Second rate of LOTM is always peak. That was a really good chapter. So we got Leonard. We found out unsealed artifacts allure people, and all of a sudden we get a new person replacing Hurricane Quilligus that has the same alluring ability. So maybe she is a sealed artifact. There's a lot happening in this stream. There's a lot happening in this Lord of Mysteries read through. All right, pause, update, and continue to 295, which is called All Ingredients Gathered. Is it for Audrey or Trissy? No, not Trissy. Audrey or Susie? Or is it KLEIN? Okay. Oh, no, it's for KLEIN. Yeah, it's for KLEIN. It's probably for all 3. Who am I kidding? All right, pause, update. Let's continue. Audrey had always had a subconscious understanding that a rainbow salamander, the rainbow salamander's pituitary glands, the size of one's palm, To her, it would be something softer with groves, a beyond her ingredients, which constantly change its colors. So what did that have to do with the 3-meter-long colossus in front of her? For a moment, she was confused, but when she heard Susie's eyes yelp, she snapped to her senses. She pretended to be satisfied with the result and said to the butler, "This is exactly the animal specimen I need. It's just a little bigger than I thought, just a little. Take the servants and move them to the warehouse. I'll study it when I'm free." "Yes, miss." The butler immediately instructed the nearby male servants, who were furtively looking at their mistress. Audrey looked around and without another word, led Susie into the manor's study. Using the excuse that she had to focus on writing a return letter to her brother, she made all the maids she had brought stay outside. After the dissection is done, there will be 2 sets of rainbow salamander pituitary glands. A portion can be used to exchange for a forsaken rabbit, just enough to concoct a bottle for the telepathy potion. Audrey gradually recovered from her astonishment and confusion as she began to think about Susie's advancement. At that moment, she thought of a serious problem. She had no idea if Susie had digested the potion or not. Oh. There's no way she loses control in the future. If it hasn't been completely digested, consuming the telepathist potion would easily lead to a loss of control. She isn't like a human who can endure through it. Wait, how did she endure it the first time? Besides, her current intelligence is about that of a 10-year-old child. She's already learning words in the Loan language, and she says she wishes to read newspapers. She's already learning words in the Loan language, and she said she wishes to read newspapers and magazines as well as books. Oh, that's why she has a little book in her artwork, right? Audrey fell silent for a few seconds. She glanced at the confused large golden retriever sat beside her. "Susie, have you completely digested the potion?" "Digest?" Susie returned with clear articulation expressing her puzzlement. Audrey had already told her that what she had taken was a potion and that she had warned her not to tell anyone, and not to tell any intelligent animals that could bark or meow. Audrey nodded her head slowly and heavily. "It's a very strange and unique feeling. It feels like something illusionary inside your body breaks down and fuses with your mind. You will vaguely see illusionary stars one after another, and you will be one with them. These stars will attract each other in a bid to fuse as one." Susie quietly listened to everything, then replied with a light and brisk voice. "Then I should have completely digested it? I've had a similar feeling before." Susie has... Oh, you know what? She would technically have digested it at a quicker pace because she's always watching all the political meetings, right, as a dog on the sideline, and they don't suspect her. Susie has completely digested the spectator potion, but no one taught her the acting method. At most, I would occasionally remind her to observe more and remain calm. Audrey asked in astonishment, "When did you digest it?" "Last month, the month before last." "Last month, 2 months ago? Or perhaps even earlier?" Susie tried her best to recall when seeing that her mistress' expression was getting odder and odder. She hurriedly wagged her tail and timidly added, "I don't remember. I'm just a dog. I won't purposely remember such things. Woof." I'm just a dog. You know that one meme? I'm just a baby. She's like, I'm just a dog. Just a dog, but you were only a little slower at digesting than me. Don't tell me that when I interact with other Beyonders, I'll say that when it comes to digesting potions, I'm a little better than a dog. Pew. Audrey, what are you thinking? Audrey maintained her elegant smile and politely praised. Very good. I mean, on this matter regarding digestion of the potion, you did very well. Returning from Leopard's place, KLEIN took a leisurely afternoon nap, but it wasn't long before he was awakened by illusionary discontorting cries. Male, is it Mr. Hangman or Little Son? Yeah, it's Leonard. It's Alger. Is this one of the final main ingredients for my potion ready? No way he's gonna be a magician already. KLEIN carefully tried distinguishing who for a few seconds and soon forgot about his anger from being awakened. He quickly got up, took 4 steps counterclockwise, and went above the gray fog. He noticed that the crimson star that symbolized the hangman was contracting and expanding. Hence, he stretched out his hand, spreading the spirituality before touching it. After the usual honorary names of the fool, the hangman prayed, I've already gathered the dark pattern, black panther, spinal fluid, and the springs of the Admiral crystals. Please permit me to hold a sacrificial ritual and seek your help in handing it to Mr. World. That's pretty fast. The hangman had said that there would be a grand event among the pirates soon. It seems like it's not soon, but now. He always holds back when speaking, never fully speaking the truths. KLEIN nodded indescribably and said, sure. So he's like half-truths, right? Half-truths, half-lies. After a simple sacrificial... Ooh, I skipped a line? No, I didn't. After a simple sacrificial ritual, Olga resisted his urge to ask Mr. Fool if celestial globe of Admiral Star's cataclysm... Catleia has anything to do with him. What? At this because of the eye. At this moment, KLEIN had already forgotten about him and was admiring the two beyond ingredients on the surface of the long bronze table. The dark patterned Black Panther's spinal fluid was a seemingly translucent liquid, but if no one looked carefully, they would discover that it clearly was also divided into different levels. The lower one went, the more transparent they were at distinct levels. It fully satisfied someone with an obsessive compulsive disorder. The spring of the elves' marrow crystals was similar to a faded egg. Its shell was very thin and it looked like it could easily shatter at a touch. Even without shaking, one could still hear the sound of a swishing water inside. I should be able to get 300 pounds and a formula clue. My magician is only short of the true root and juice of the mistrent. I wonder when Little Sun will complete the mission. KLEIN waited in anticipation. As for the other supplementary ingredients, he had already bought them from various stores. For example, the droplet gem he needed to buy was purchased from a jewelry store and he had ground it into powder. 5 grams was about 2.5 pounds. The son Derrick didn't keep KLEIN waiting long, and on Wednesday evening he whispered a prayer to the fool that he had prepared the true root and juice of the mistrent and asked him to pass. Dude, he is ready to be a magician. No way we hit magician at the end of this chapter, next chapter. Okay, now I think I know why you guys wanted me to change the music. To the fool that he had prepared to the true roots and juice of the mistrent and asked him to pass them to the other world. The mistrent's true root was heart-shaped, brown palm size, and wrinkled. It looked like an old man's skin, but its back was as smooth as the exquisite as the gem. It was slightly expanding and contracting as though it had a certain amount of vitality. Its juice was light green and sparkling, making it look very delicious. KLEIN just looked at them, feeling a little smug. In the present day and age, Sequence 7 was the threshold of a mid-sequence Beyonder. This meant that a Beyonder would finally be able to bid farewell to the state of being only slightly stronger than ordinary people in certain aspects. They would be able to wield a relatively abundance of Beyonder powers. Phew. KLEIN slowly exhaled, returned to his bedroom, and summoned himself to bring a Beyonder ingredients into the real world. He didn't prepare any additional vessels. He washed an iron pot in the kitchen a few times and began to concoct a potion according to the steps of handling the supplementary ingredients before handling the main ingredients. With the clown's ability and controlling his body, he quickly finished the first stage, and one by one he put in the dark pattern Black Panther's spinal fluid and the mistrent's true root, Sizzle. With a... dude, no way he made it already. No way, this is a hype chapter, dude. Ooh! With a jarring sound, a pale white fog suddenly rose and was forcefully pulled back into the pot by an invisible force. When everything calmed down, KLEIN quickly poured every drop of liquid into a transparent bottle that he had prepared. That liquid was rather special. It was as if fireworks were constantly being released from within it. Red, orange, yellow, green, and other colors constantly scattered, disappeared, and reappeared again. This was a magician potion. I have the biggest smile. Oh my god, my cheeks are starting to hurt, man. I'm smiling too much. Oh man, I know why we wanted to change the music. KLEIN stuck a coin worth 1 pound between his thumb and index finger on his left hand, flicked it up and opened it. That was in the trailer. That's what he did, right? When he flicked it? KLEIN stuck a coin worth 1 pound between his thumb and index finger on his left hand, flicked it up and opened his palm to catch it. I need to change the music. All right, we're no, we're not gonna play this song, but we're gonna save the new track. KLEIN sat down on the sofa and began cognition to calm his stirring heart and dispel all of his emotions temporarily from his body. After doing all this, he raised the glass bottle, tipped his head, and drank the magician potion like this. Go, go, go. Crazy. I just demonstrated that for you. The ice cold, this is ice cold. The ice cold potion went down his throat, and at every moment it felt like countless bubbles were bursting. He has like poppy rocks in his mouth or what? KLEIN's entire body was experiencing this stimulation, and the massive amounts of information flooded his mind, blooming into fireworks. And this is where we hear Hornicus Flagura again, right? Because it's happened both times when he's drank a potion, right? The veins on his forehead bulged, and his head felt like it was about to burst. This is so hype, bro. However, this wasn't a very difficult situation for KLEIN to endure. The terrifying ravings before entering the gray fog and the evil roars of the true crater were much more terrifying. Hornicus flagera. Hornicus flagera. Hornicus flagera. What is that, man? The ethereal temptation echoed again. Klein's head expanded and contracted repeatedly before he gradually recovered his thoughts. He began to consciously restrain his thoughts, outline the spherical lights, and slowly enter a state of cognition. After an unknown period of time, his vision recovered. At the same time, he felt an itch all over his body. With his arms feeling the worst, Klein rolled up his sleeves and was surprised to see that one of his arms was deeply wrinkled, like a centurion. The other arm had lost its color and had become translucent. He can go invisible now? He could directly see his blood. He could directly see his blood vessels, muscles, and veins. Could it be that I had nearly lost control? No, it shouldn't be. This should be the remnant. Whoa, wait, hold on. I think my music is too loud on my end. Hold on. I just realized I'm playing a different song. I'm sorry, but it still fits. Could it be that I had nearly lost control? No, it shouldn't be. This should be the remnant influences. Klein sat on the sofa in the dark, leaning forward as he watched the anomaly in his arms warily, as if it were a breeding ground for monsters. And all of this had nothing to do with Klein. He sat quietly in the sofa in the darkness, watching his crest skin and the translucent state of his arms slowly recover. 5 to 6 minutes later, Klein silently sighed as everything finally returned to normal. It's a good thing that no one came knocking on the door or ringing the bell. I only choose to advance after completely digesting the sequence A potion. With such severe effects, it would be hard for those beyonders who depended on time to grind through the potion. It really is difficult to pass the stage. No wonder Captain took 9 years. No wonder Swain, the former captain of the mandated punishers and the owner of the evil dragon's bar, didn't dare to consume sequence 7 potion Seafarer. After sitting silently for more than 10 seconds, Klein slowly stood up. At that moment, he was already a mid-sequence beyonder. At that moment, he was already a magician. Is that hype or is that not hype? I was always under the impression he was going to be Gandalf the Wise as a magician, but I don't think he's going to be Gandalf. I think he's going to be a carnival magician, but we will see. That was such a... I like that. Thank you. Time to... That was so cool, dude. Oh, that was so sick. Dude, he's sequence 7, bro. Cook, let's go, bro. Okay, don't cry. Don't cry. Pause, update, and let's continue, dude. Oh my god, dude. That is so sick. Now I want to know why you guys want me to play the music. I thought you guys wanted me to play the song at that point. But if there's something more hype coming up, it's not how most people pronounce it, but I pronounce it as Hornicus flagera. One of your favorite sequence 7s? I'll tell you the 5... Man, you can help me. Magician is a amazing... You guys are hyping me up a little too much. All right, take it down a notch. Hold up, guys. Hold up. Like, we're ending stream next chapter. No, I'm kidding. We're not ending stream next chapter. Okay, let's keep going, dude. Let's update and let's keep reading, dude. Chapter 296 is called Magician. Ooh, we made it. He leveled up. He took 2 steps forward and passed the coffee table. Klein stretched his body and shook his wrists, but he found nothing unusual. I'm getting goosebumps. He looked at the gas lamps outside the oriel window, which illuminated the darkness and gloominess, and said to himself thoughtfully, "My hands are more agile." Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. Oh, I can feel the cold shivers on my neck right now. My hands are more agile, and I'm more nimble. Even if I don't have beyonder powers, as long as I work hard enough, I can become a top magician. This was his first impression of his own transformation. And just like that, when he recorded in the Nighthawk records, if a potion provided a specific magical powers that the beyonders would become aware it after ingesting it, they would grasp the specific... I cannot read. I am too excited. I am slurring my words. My hands are more agile and I am more nimble. Even if I don't have beyonder powers, as long as I work hard enough, I can become a top magician. This was his first impression of his own transformation. And just like that, what was recorded in the Nighthawk records, if a potion provided a specific magical power, then the Beyonder would become aware of it after ingesting it. They would grasp the specific details as though the corresponding knowledge would be ingested and imprinted into the mind through a mysterious method. Just now, my head nearly exploded. KLEIN smiled and shook his head carefully and recalling what he had felt at the corresponding magical spells. It had to be said that the magician was indeed considered a powerful Sequence 7, with it possessing many miraculous abilities that could all be cast very quickly. Fireball. Among them, there were 3 which KLEIN valued and liked the most. The most important part was damage transfer. He transfers. So like if an enemy hits him, he can transfer that damage to him. As long as he didn't die instantly, as long as his hands could still move, he could transfer the vital wounds to unimportant areas like his arms, turning fatal wounds into minor injuries. Oh. Turning fatal wounds into minor injuries. Okay, damage transfer. Okay, I get it. So he doesn't transfer it to somebody, but he can, like, minimize it. This was a very useful Beyonder ability for life preservation and actual combat. The only problem is that at Sequence 7, wounds can only be transferred around my body. Oh! And there's only one opportunity. Oh, he transfers the damage on his body to somewhere else. Wounds can only be transferred around my body, and there's only one opportunity. Perhaps as my sequence is raised, the wounds can be transferred to other items or people. It really does feel like magic. So, like, say they damage his legs and keep him from moving, he can transfer it to, like, an arm he's not going to use to attack. Okay. KLEIN imagined the future. The second spell was Flaming Jump. Okay, we got a fireball of something. Flaming Jump. Within a range of 30 meters. Wait, what's that in freedom units? 10 feet? Within a range of 10 feet, he could phase between a fire spark that he had left behind and the original flame. It was similar to teleportation, which seemed to have a uniqueness of gaining help from the spirit world. Oh, like the blue flames Madame Dally has. It was similar to the teleportation, which seemed like having a uniqueness of gaining help from the spirit world. Well, it can be used to its fullest when performing magic. KLEIN mocked himself inwardly with great satisfaction. More importantly, as he digested the potion and raised the sequence, the range of flame jumps would increase significantly. The third type of Beyonder spell was the air bullets. Air bullets, which KLEIN had seen Suited Clown from the Secret Order use. Yeah, that's the one when they were fighting on the harbor. I remember he was like shooting something, right? Like midair? Okay. I'm getting a little overwhelmed. The third type of Beyonder spell was air bullets, which KLEIN had seen the Suited Clown from the Secret Order use. Okay, yeah, I remember you guys did confirm that it was a magician that he fought. The magician can produce air projectiles with power and speed comparable to that of the bullets fired from the custom revolver just by snapping his fingers or mimicking sounds. Furthermore, the effect would improve, so he doesn't even need a gun anymore. He can just use his hands. The effect would improve. Oh my god, he literally has a spirit gun. Furthermore, the effect would improve along with the digestion of potions and raising. He's gonna have a spirit cannon when he hits sequence 4, bro. Furthermore, the effect would improve along with the digestion of the potion and the raising of his sequence. KLEIN suspected that at sequence 4 or 5 he could create his own cannonball. Bro, this sounds so cool, dude. What the fuck? Dude, I'm getting teary-eyed. This is so hot. And 5 inches? What are you referencing? Hold up. 30 meters? 100 feet? 30 meters is 100 feet? Wait, I thought one... Oh, you're right. I did it backwards. 3 meters is 1 foot. He has 100 feet? The fuck? That's like the whole battlefield. Crazy, we got this from a Syrian clown. Bro, what the fuck? Dude, he can teleport within 100 feet. This way, he can teleport within 100 feet and shoot freaking spirit. Oh my, he has a spirit gun that he can shoot from 100 feet. That is so wild. And he can transfer any damage that he gets. Oh my, hold up, I'm getting lightheaded, bro. I'm actually getting lightheaded. This is so hype. Look at these goosebumps, bro. I'm not even joking. The fourth type was paper figurine substitutes. This way, I skipped a paragraph. This way, I don't need to buy more revolvers and bullets anymore. No, I still need to buy one. There are many matters that don't need me to expose my beyonder powers. Any problem that can be solved with guns isn't a problem. KLEIN nodded, so he still has to use a gun to keep up his appearance. Okay, as a detective. KLEIN nodded indiscreetly and began to examine the other spells and spell-like abilities. The fourth, I thought he only had 3. Oh, his 3 most interesting ones, but he has more. The 4th type was a paper figurine substitute. At a critical moment, the magician could temporarily change the paper figurine into him. What? I thought it was gonna be like when he throws the cards. At a critical moment, the magician could temporarily change the paper figurine into him while he swapped places. So it's like brother from Jujutsu Kaisen. Swap places. It was a relative simple substitute spell that could not only block a fatal blow, but also weaken damage from hexes. So this is the use of all the paper figurines that the Nimblewright Master Rosalgo had brought with him. He must feel regret because he was contaminated by the true creator and didn't have the... Oh, that's what Rosalgo had. He must feel regret because he was contaminated by the true creator and didn't have the chance to use a substitute at all. Yeah, he probably like, shit, I didn't get a substitute. The biggest problem with this spell is the need to prepare the materials beforehand, which means that the paper figurines have to be cut in advance. In the early days of the 5th Epoch, Beyonders who brought similar items will undoubtedly be regarded as a dark warlock. If discovered now, I'll most likely be suspected. KLEIN mulled over the uses and limitations of paper figurine substitutes, so he has to hide that. He has to hide that ability unless he really needs it. Okay, all right. The 5th kind of, I feel like my music is too loud. Let me lower it a little bit for me, because this is really hype. The 5th, oh my god, bro. How much did he learn? The 5th kind of spell-like ability was called Flame Controlling. So, I already know, so he can keep up the flames. The whole time I'm like, but if he turns on like a match, wouldn't the match go out? No, now he can keep a match lit. The 5th kind of spell-like ability was called Flame Controlling. As the name implied, one can manipulate flames within 30 ranged meters with a simple action. It could also be used to ignite certain... Oh my god. So he doesn't have to physically ignite like a match. Like if he sees paper on the floor, he can just like magically lit it up. Okay, this teleportation shit sounds so much more hype. What the fuck, dude? Wait, it could also be used to ignite certain items within this range. Once the potion... I'm getting lightheaded. Once the potion has been completely digested, or when I advance in sequence, one could summon a swirling flame out of thin air. The 6th was illusion creation. This is so hype, bro. This is so cool, bro. By influencing the surrounding environment, one could create illusions with colors, sounds, and smells. My fucking man is Itachi, bro. And smells that were close to reality, allowing one to pass off the fake as the truth and deceive the enemy. This is a specialty of a... So he's like a trickster. This is a specialty of a magician. KLEIN chuckled and walked over the oriel window as he took in the night scene of the streets with great satisfaction. The 7th... Bro, no way he has an 8th, 9th, and 10th. The 7th was a fake form of underwater breathing. The principle behind it was to create a thin... And... Wait, let me read this. Why are we saying hi? The first clown fight, they used all these powers. So I remember during the harbor fight, the clown was teleporting it, and it looked like he was shattering glass. And I was so confused. I was like, how the fuck is this dude teleporting? And I remember he was using the air bullets. I remember him using the air bullets, the teleporting, and then there was like a... Oh, when he attacked him, he shattered into a paper decoy. That was a paper decoy. I remember him shooting... Oh! Remember when he literally shot an illusionary fireball at him. The glass was illusion. And I remember he shot like a fireball, right? But then he realized it was an illusion. No fucking way. Cuttlefish is so good. He used all these abilities since Volume 1, and he's been saving it. Like, he never clarified what he was using, but he was saving it. No fucking way. KLEIN fought an opponent with abilities that he would obtain in the future chapter. Is that not amazing, or is that not amazing? Sorry, spoilers. The answer is that is amazing. He literally fought a man, like he fought a man with abilities that he would use down the road. Like he indirectly saw future abilities that he would use. Like he indirectly has like clairvoyance, bro. That is so crazy, dude. The seventh was a fake form of underwater breathing. Fake? What the fuck does that mean? The seventh was a fake, so he can't breathe underwater? Dude, man, my fucking brain is spinning, dude. The seventh was a fake form of underwater breathing. The principle behind it was to create a thin, invisible air pipe which would allow... Wait, this is actually kind of funny. So he has like he can breathe underwater with a imaginary breathing apparatus. That's pretty cool. The principle behind it was to create a thin, invisible air pipe which would allow the magician to breathe freely and seemingly turn into a soul called Murlocs. The problem was that the air pipe had a limited length. At his present stage, KLEIN could only maintain it for around 5 meters, 15 feet. Which meant that if the water depth exceeded 5 meters, he could drown. Of course, the potion's digestion and sequence advancement will result in the growth of the air. So this guy is just going to be able to breathe underwater in the future. Nothing is going to stop this man. The eighth was a spell-like ability, bone softening. Wait, so if he gets hit, his bones won't break so he becomes Luffy from One Piece. He becomes a rubber man. This helps a magician break free from handcuffs, ropes, and chests. It's also a specialty. KLEIN thought in a good mood. My man just ate the gum fruit. The ninth was the evolution of the clown's ability to turn paper into throwing knives. Oh my god, bro. So now he can physically turn the paper into a paper knife rather than like the card having like the same sharpness as a knife. He can actually turn it into a knife. The knife was the evolution of... I'm sorry it's taking me so long to read this chapter. I am going all over the place with these abilities. The knife was the evolution of the clown's ability to turn paper into throwing knives, called drawing papers as weapons. Not only could it turn paper into sharp objects, but it could also temporarily turn into weapons such as bats or bricks. What the fuck? So when he needs a blunt object, he's good. These were the 9 main spells or spell-like abilities of a magician. Although they weren't particularly strong in both offense and defense. This sounds super good. Although they weren't particularly strong in both the offensive and defensive aspects, nor were they particularly bizarre, they stood out from their variety. They allow KLEIN's strength to instantly rise by more than 1 level, and his life preservation means of escape became even better. Moreover, magicians have the ability to cast spells at high speeds. This was a sequence of Beyonders who didn't need to chant or inject spirituality. So it's like in Full Metal, right? Where like Ed doesn't have to like physically do the... like the... I forget what it's called, the terminology. Like, he doesn't physically have to do it. He just does the he just does the magic, or like he just does the alchemy, right? With just a simple action, they could cast a corresponding spell or spell-like ability. My man literally just became Edward. He literally became Edward Ulrich. In addition, the potion made KLEIN attain some tiny tricks, but they weren't very practical. I can barely be considered quite a good Beyonder. What do you mean he can barely be considered quite a good? He's literally a good Beyonder. KLEIN sighed silently. Just as he was about to go out for a stroll and get another revolver and replenish his bullets at the Braveheart's bar, the gas lamps outside the oriel window, which tainted the crimson moonlight, suddenly turned darker and deeper. This sounds hype. Can you believe that a magician isn't even a top 5 sequencer? I can believe that. And you know what I have to say? I'm going to say a Top Gun Maverick reference. Well, oh my god, I forgot the name. It's not the plane, it's the pilot. This is literally a Top Gun Maverick reference. It's not the Beyonder. No, it's not the sequence. It's the Beyonder, right? So it's like the Beyonder can utilize these seemingly weak abilities and make and be really good. Oh my god. I can barely be considered quite a good Beyonder. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering and I'm all over the place. But we're back after a 1 month break. But we're back. Klein sighed silently, just as he was about to go all out for a stroll and get another revolver and replenish his bullets at the Braveheart's bar. Like, what is happening? The gas lamps outside the Oriole window, which tainted the crimson moon, the crimson moon's moonlight, suddenly turned darker and darker. Klein looked up in surprise and saw the dark clouds and mists had dispersed, clearly revealing the red moon. I feel like I have to get the music ready, which was a little more than a semicircle. It's outline music change for I'm just playing the music. This sounds like a crazy setup. I'm not even gonna pause the video. We're gonna do this. This sounds too hype. I don't know what's going on, but this sounds really badass. Let me lower the music for me a little bit. If the music's too loud or too low, let me know. I can bear. Klein looked up in surprise and saw the dark clouds and mists had dispersed, clearly revealing the red moon, which was a little more than a semicircle. Its outline rapidly turned into a full circle, and in just a few seconds, it had turned into a full moon that was as red as blood. It had only been 2 weeks since the last full moon, so it's not the real full moon. According to the normal calendar, according to astronomy, there were still about 10 days left until the next full moon. This is the blood moon. Klein's lips moved slightly as he muttered to himself in relief. In this world, the changes to the moon were both regular and irregular. Ordinarily, it was exactly the same experience Klein had in his previous life. However, they were always a few times every year when it would suddenly become round and dark red, just like blood. Such a situation that had no logic to it. At times, it happened only once a year and sometimes 4 or 5 times a year. You know what's crazy? There was a real blood moon like a week ago. That's just... Is this not a coincidence, or is this not a coincidence? A real blood moon happened in real life as I'm reading this. It was meant to be that we read this. Ordinary, it was exactly the same... Let me reread this again. This is... I'm kind of confused. Ordinarily, it was exactly the same experience Klein had in his previous life. However, there were always a few times every year when it would suddenly become round and dark red, just like blood. Such a situation that had no logic to it. At times, it happened only once a year and sometimes 4 or 5 times a year. Neither astronomers nor mystics could explain this phenomenon or come up with a pattern. Therefore, they could only ignore it for the time being, and as one of the puzzles, they joked that perhaps the goddess was in a bad mood and that a change in the woman's mood was undoubtedly irregular. Okay. Of course, not knowing the reason and not being able to understand the essence of this phenomenon didn't mean that there was no corresponding conclusion. In mysticism, people called this situation the blood moon, believing that it would bring about the rise and eruption of negative emotions, and that this is something the true creator probably needs when he like ascends in real life, right? Oh my god. Okay. All right. So the blood moon has to do something with like the moon being a cocoon, right? And now that the moon is like physically blood, a true creator or someone of that scale can like physically descend into the real world. That has to be it. That has to be the reason, right? Of course, not knowing the reason, not being able to understand the essence of this phenomenon didn't mean that there was no corresponding conclusion. In mysticism, people called this situation the blood moon, believing that it would bring about the rise and eruption of negative emotions and that it would strengthen the power of the underworld and the spirit world. Even if the dead were summoned, they might still be able to climb out of their graves? No. I don't like this foreshadowing. This is the second time this year, right? Klein stood by the Oriole window, admired the clear sky and the disc-like full moon, which was red and glistering. He felt that he was in a relatively good shape. My goat mentioned. In an apartment in Sherwood Borough, FORS Wall, who had participated in gathering that night, was unable to make it back home. No, we don't kill her. FORS literally said, "I'm not in danger." I hate the series of the killer. There's no such thing as a coincidence. Why else would she say, "I'm not in danger"? And then why else would you music? Do I put the music? Do I put the music up? I'll put the music. I'll put the music a little up. Is the music mute? Why are we saying music? Let's go. Okay, in an apartment in Sherwood Borough, FORS Wall, who had participated in the gathering that night, was unable to make it back home in the 2-bedroom apartment in St. George Borough. She sat cross-legged on a sofa in the living room, chewing on a new type of bread which had meat. vegetables in it. She had let down her hair as she thought over the plot of her next novel. The author gets killed. Suddenly, she frowned and threw away the food and pen in her hand. The moonlight outside the window grew stronger and redder. Oh my god, it's Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper is gonna get her. And the look on the FORS face became more and more painful. Every full moon, she would hear those ravings. No! Oh my god, they set this up so long ago that she hears the ravings. No! No! Fuck you guys! Go fuck yourself! I don't mean you specifically. No! I was just starting to like her. Oh man. Remember how I told you guys I was gonna cut off my heart? I had zero. Remember how I told you guys I had 0 attachments? I fucking lied. Every full moon, she would hear those ravings that would drive her mad. Bam. I didn't mention FORS and Shio because I was like, I'm not attached to them. Every full moon, she would hear those ravings that would drive her mad. Bam. She fell off the couch, her body writhing as she struggled. After a while, she put out a clump of her hair, but the pain did nothing to ease the explosive sensation in her head or to calm the urge to end her life with a knife. Here it comes again. FORS muttered in pain as her legs were stretched taut from her spasms of pain. She chanted the name of the god she believed it with great difficulty, seeking redemption. Great god of steam machinery, you are essential, the embodiment of. You are an artisan, a protector. You are the glory of technology, glory. As she repeatedly chanted FORS, suffering didn't abate, and instead it grew more intense. Bam. She tumbled around violently, toppling the coffee table and sweeping the books on it to the ground. Unable to endure it any further, FORS frantically used her nails to scratch the wooden leg of the coffee table, creating one deep scratch after another long with a jarring screeching sounds. Ah, that sounds so... Ah, her fingernails broke. Her hair was growing abnormally long. At that moment, she felt that she would lose control that very night and become a monster. She had already chanted the honorable names of the several gods, but she had failed to receive any reply. No, wait. Pray to KLEIN. Go, please say the full. I'm going to die. As she... Please call KLEIN. As she writhed and rolled about, she suddenly saw a piece of... with the words in... Oh, please call KLEIN. As she writhed and... Oh, fuck it, I'm stuttering my words. As she blanked and rolled about, she suddenly saw... There's hope. She suddenly saw a piece of paper with the words in ancient Hermes written on it. It was a mysterious incantation Shio had found in the history of the Lowen Kingdom's aristocracy. Her chanting of it had even attracted the existence of the suspected to be an evil god. Even if it's an evil spirit, as long as you can help me, I'm willing to... Fucking shit, KLEIN is gonna help her. I'm willing... Oh my... I called it. Oh my god, I knew it. Oh, okay. Fuck you. You are not gonna kill FORS. I really like this character. Don't do this to me, Cuttlefish. Just stop. I'm willing to accept such a thought flash through FORS' turbid mind. She struggled to look over as she... Oh my god, fuck, I'm getting lightheaded. Hold up. I gotta stand up. Even if it's an evil spirit, as long as you can help me, I'm willing to accept such a thought flash through FORS and Turbid's mind. She struggled to look over as she used all her strength to whisper, the fool that doesn't belong to this era, the mysterious ruler above the Brayfog, the king of yellow black who wields good luck. Holy fucking shit. Let's fucking go. She didn't die. I missed her. She's fucking... Oh. He's gonna save her. He's gonna save her. Oh, I didn't even read the whole chapter. Save me. Okay, we're good. Praise, holy shit, fucking praise the full. Oh, hallelujah. Start singing fucking hallelujah music. Holy fucking shit, man. Oh, I was so scared it was over for her. Dude, the music is so loud on my end. When the music is too loud, I get really distracted. Hold up, I have to put the music real loud for... Let me pause. Let me catch my breath. No, you guys are trying to throw me off. Let me keep recording this. I need to get my thoughts out before we continue. So, earlier, it was revealed that there was a non-human pirate, right? I was like, so there's like humans and there's like different races. No, it's not that there's different races. There's different you know how she's going insane, right? KLEIN is probably going to lock her in that state. And she's probably going to be in a like half mad state, right? And she's gonna have her new appearance. So she's not gonna look like a human, she's gonna look like a non-human. That has to be it. You guys got an ad? I'll pause the video. That's all I wanted to say. She's not gonna die. She's gonna be in like a half mad state for like the foreseeable future. That has to be it. Okay, that's all I want to say. How is KLEIN going to stop madness? He's going to use his sleep charm, or it might summon something else. Stop. You guys are bamboozling me. Let me update this. Stop. No Beyonder would go mad. No. We know Beyonders can be in like a half mad state. I'm pretty sure I read that at one point, that people have been in like a semi mad state. Your hope in cuttlefish is too strong, in my opinion. I like how somebody earlier, remember you guys said hope, but you put cope in the beginning, so it's cope. Okay, let's update. Madness isn't that easy to deal with. And the only one that can probably help someone is KLEIN. At least in the gray fog. Okay, pause. Let's update. I will be optimistic this chapter. But this chapter's called The Full Moon's Ravings, man. Man, we lost FORS, man. She's gonna get the full ravings of the moon. Wait, why isn't... Wait, oh, wait. I need a theory craft to be hopeful. But it's not gonna help FORS case. The reason this chapter is called The Full Moon's Raving is because the moon is a sentient thing. Right? Oh my god, the moon is an unsealed artifact. Oh my god. And that's why it's physically... That's why it's actually affecting FORS. And she's getting the ravings. Eyes, I confirm, don't... Unconfirmed. He's cooking yet again. We're always cooking. Holy fucking shit. I hate the moon. I hate the hidden sage. I hate the true creator. And I hate the red moon. Or I hate the full moon. Or I hate the blood moon. I hate everything. Except KLEIN. I really like KLEIN and his family. And the Nighthawks. I like people that I like in the series, and I hate everybody else. Music louder for us, please? Okay. If this is good, I'm gonna cry. Stop. No, you're gonna be TC True Creator slander. I will slander his name to the ground until he does something good. Up until now, he's caused us nothing but harm. I'm gonna stand by that. Okay, let's continue. I didn't even pause the video. Let's just continue. KLEIN had just put on his double-breasted frock coat, picked up his half-top hat, and was walking towards the door when he heard a series of illusory prayers. Who is it? He frowned slightly and listened, but he could only confirm that the supplicant was a woman and that her voice was staccato, as though she were in great pain. Since he heard nothing particularly urgent to tend to, the newly advanced magician KLEIN casually tosses No way he ignores her. Casually tosses half top hat onto the coat rack accurately, and he returned to his bedroom after... Okay, he goes back. After taking 4 steps counterclockwise, he entered the majestic palace. If the music is good, I think we're good. If it's too low, let me know. This time, he didn't see an illusionary star expanding or contracting with a deep red glow. Instead, at the end of the ancient modeled bronze table by the side of the full seat was a clear radiance rippling out. It's a prayer from a non-Terror Club member. Is it Shio or that lady with the curly brown hair? She had curly hair? I thought she had straight hair. KLEIN speculated and took his seat. Since he had... I skipped a line. Since he had already emptied his anonymous account, he didn't suspect that someone was trying to steal his wealth. Leaning back, KLEIN pointed with his left hand, spreading out his spirituality till it touched the rippling light. The scene around him suddenly changed. He saw the overturned coffee table, the slanted sofa, book and paper strewed all over the floor, and a woman with the brown hair struggled in pain. At the same time, KLEIN heard her prayers. The fool that doesn't belong to this era, the mysterious ruler above the gray fog, the king of yellow and black who wields Galug, save me, save me. Oh, I'm getting shaky, dude. Save me. From the looks of it, she seems to be losing control. Her hair is growing. Come on, bro. Like, after O'Neal, you can't just watch somebody lose control. Like, he has to help her. Her hair is growing just like O'Neal. He's not gonna let this happen again. He won't let this happen. Her hair is growing longer at a discernible speed, and her skin is covered with a layer of sinister white light. How could I possibly save her? No. Klein observed carefully for a few seconds, then mumbling to himself, feeling stumped. It was at this moment that he detected in the woman's anguishing pleas a faint, illusionary, indistinct raving. Yes, a raving. These ravings were similar to the ones he experienced before, rising above the gray fog. So he's gonna pull her into the gray fog. But it had no madness or evil to it at all. Furthermore, it didn't contain any obvious malice. It appears that this lady's state of nearly losing control is a result of hearing the ravings. If she stops hearing it, could it be that she's able to calm down and turn for the better? In thought, Klein reached his hand out at the rippling circle of the light. Following that, he allowed his spirituality to gush out of his body, establishing a firm and mysterious connection. After advancing to magician, his spirituality had become a lot more abundant, and the burden and the aspect had decreased accordingly. FORS felt her head muddling as she felt her thoughts were boiling like water. They were constantly bubbling in a bid to break free of the restraints of her head. Am I dying? I don't want to. I don't want to become a monster. Just as she woefully thinking this in her mind, the pain flooded over her like a tidal wave. Suddenly, she was wide awake. The pain, the irritation, and the madness of despair, which she felt so deeply in her bones, seemed to no longer exist as a thought. It was only an illusion. I managed to endure through it so quickly today. Isn't it longer during a blood moon? It lasts longer? Confused, FORS opened her eyes, which she had unconsciously closed. She found an endless... Oh my god, he pulled her in. She found an endless grayish white fog beneath her, and in no way she's gonna be a new member. And in front of her was an ancient, muddled bronze table. Where is this place? Surprised, she looked around and saw numerous towering stone pillars, as well as a towering palace that was propped up by the stone pillars. I can see this ship. Because, like, Klein would be her savior, and she's, like, in love with the fool. Then at the very end of the long bronze table, she saw a mysterious figure shrouded in the thick... dude, I'm so shaky right now. Then at the very end of the long bronze table, she saw a mysterious figure shrouded in a thick gray fog who seemed to be overlooking everything from above. What is this place? Who is he? FORS turned worry and questioned inwardly. Then she remembered what she had just done. Oh my god, my heart. Under her extreme pain, Ellie, I know, man, she's in pain too, bro. She hears me in pain. Under her extreme pain, she had chanted the mysterious incantation which Shio had found in the history of the Lowen Kingdom's aristocracy. The incantation that she was suspected to be directed at some evil god? No, not just evil spirits. He was actually able to temporarily help me get rid of the harmful effects of those terrifying ravings. He even pulled me into this strange world. This, while forces pressed the fear in her heart, she half stood up and bowed. May I know who you are? At that moment, she suddenly recalled the contents of the incantation she had blurted out. You are the fool, Mr. Fool. You are His Excellency, the Fool. Clyde smiled and nodded slightly and said, just call me Mr. Fool. As he spoke, he noticed on the back of the chair in which... The way she became a member. Her symbol. As he spoke, he noticed on the back of the chair in which FORS was sitting on the symbols of the... Man, you guys really had me, man. You had me in the first half. You guys really had me thinking she was dying. As he spoke, he noticed on the back of her chair in which FORS was sitting on, the symbols of the mysterious patterns formed by the shining stars was rapidly changing. In just 1 or 2 seconds, the interior of the room was covered with layers upon layers of doors. Numerous illusionary doors of the same kind were formed there. A door. Door. As soon as Klein saw the symbol, he immediately associated it with the mention of Mr. Door in Roselle's diary, and the illusionary door he saw. During a full moon, holy shit, he can bridge whatever gap between the real world and the moon, right? With the illusionary door. During a full moon, the other party would come close to the real world and let out cries for help. Could the ravings have something to do with Mr. Door? It's the night of the blood moon tonight, an enhanced version of the full moon. Dude, my heart is racing. It's the night of the blood moon tonight, an enhanced version of the full moon. This lady corresponding to a door in the symbol of the back of Miss Shiel's seat is similar to the sword of judgment. Klein nodded indescribably. Through this, he confirmed once a stable connection was established and that if the other party was beyond her, the symbol behind the seat would change according to the other party's actual circumstances. They didn't have to necessarily join... They didn't have to necessarily join the Terror Club and come to the mysterious space above the gray fog at fixated intervals. At that moment, waves of shock rose up in FORS' heart. I'm sorry, I'm not reading chat right now. Oh my goodness. Oh, man. At that moment, waves of shock rose up in FORS' heart. The fool, it's indeed the fool. That honorable name thus point towards a powerful existence. What does he want? Will he want to make a transaction with my soul? It's not that bad. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, girl. Huh? It's at least better than losing control from those ravings. I guess I managed to claw my life back. Whatever happens in the future would just be a bonus. While she was still lost in her thoughts, she suddenly heard Mr. Fool ask with a smile, "You hear ravings from nowhere every full moon? How does he know?" FORS looked over in surprise and replied in a daze, "Yes." Before she finished her sentence, she suddenly thought of a possibility and asked, "Do you know the origin of these ravings? Do you know who is trying to harm me? Do you know how to solve this problem once and for all?" "He's a miserable wretch who is lost in the darkness and trapped in a storm." KLEIN had intended to reply with the words that would shape his image, but when he thought about it, he couldn't be sure that the woman in front of him had indeed heard of the words coming from Mr. Dorr. In order to not make any mistakes and not to embarrass himself in the future, he skipped over the question and said with a vague smile, "He might not necessarily want to hurt you. Perhaps he is just asking for your help?" That's a good vague answer, bro. He lampooned through that question. "Therefore, the ravings weren't malice, not crazy or evil. Asking for my help, but those ravings pushed me closer and closer to losing control. If you hadn't helped me, I might have become a monster by now." FORS returned indiscriminately. KLEIN grinned and said, "That's because you're too weak." "I'm too weak." FORS was stunned and at a loss. KLEIN briefly explained, "The difference in your life's natural order and his is too great. Perhaps just by breathing normally, the storm brought about by him can rip you to pieces. Perhaps just a glance, so it's whatever God, right? Perhaps just a glance from him will cause you to die on the spot. Of course, if he purposely controls his own strength, it's not that he can't communicate normally with you. However, his voice might need to pass through layers of obstructions in order to reach your ears. Deliberate control typically implies a failure to call for help. That if we assume that he's calling for help. The difference in our life's natural order is too great. I would die from just one glance from him." FORS was stunned from what she heard. After quite some time, she forced a smile and said, "This reminds me of a saying. You may not look directly at God." Yep. Oh, dude. Holy shit, man. This series is so good. This series really keeps you on the edge of your seat, bro. Oh, my God. And this Lord of Mysteries keeps you guessing, man. Even, like, you go through so many emotions in just one chapter. I'm so lightheaded right now, and I'm so, like, shaky, and oh, my God. KLEIN smiled at her without giving a positive answer. Could it be that those terrifying ravings really come from an existence who's nearly a god? One would say a demigod. Mr. Fool can help me eliminate that person's influence, and all this time, he's been talking about it in a rather blatant tone. Does this mean that he and the existence life natural order are on the same level? The more she thought about it, the more shocked she became. Even her body couldn't stop trembling. KLEIN waited for a few seconds and asked, "How long does it last every full moon?" 3 to 5 minutes. If it's the night of the blown moon, it would exceed 7 minutes. That sounds painful, man. FORS gathered her thought and answered honestly. The more KLEIN listened, the more he felt that the ravings, or, oh my God, owner belonging to Mr. Dorr. He temporarily put this matter down and smiled. "You can return in a few minutes. There is only one way to solve your problem, and that is to raise your life's natural order." FORS hesitated for a moment before saying, "Whenever I encounter the full moon, can I recite your name? I will be your devout believer." So she doesn't become a member, but she becomes like a devotee, or like she becomes a believer. Oh my God! So not only will the Fool gain members, but he will gain believers. It really is a cult. "I will be your devout believer." No, there's no need. KLEIN smiled and shook his head. "But I don't mind helping you along the way. Thank you so much." Although she suspected that she was dealing with an evil god, she no longer wanted to experience the same painful nightmare as before. After confirming this matter, she relaxed a lot. Noticing that there was still many seats around the long bronze table, she asked probingly, "Mr. Fool, it seems that there are others who can hear frequently." "No, they might not necessarily be human," FORS added silently. KLEIN smiled and said with a casual attitude, "There are a few people who are similar to you. I pulled them here from various reasons. They hope that I can hold a gathering at regular intervals to facilitate the trade of formulas, ingredients, and information emissions." I agreed to it. FORS, I agreed to it. Oh, that's KLEIN saying that. FORS was enticed by what she heard. Thinking that she was already part of this, she boldly asked, "Mr. Fool, can I join this gathering?" Sure, 3 in the afternoon on Mondays, remove all disturbances. Klein smiled and pointed the cards that suddenly appeared on the... No way, dude. Just like, choose your card. Klein smiled at the and pointed at the... No way. Okay, don't tell me what she is. Hold up. Mr. Full, can I join this gathering? Sure, 3 in the afternoon on Mondays, remove all disturbances. Oh. Klein smiled and pointed at the cards and suddenly appeared on the surface of the long bronze table. They decided to use the names of the tarot cards as their code names. You can pick one of these, but these already belong to someone and you cannot choose from. FORS nodded her head, shuffling the cards and cutting them with great interest while mumbling, "Let fate arrange my title." Soon she pulled out a card and looked at it. She's the magician! What? Oh my god, another one. Oh my god, look at Klein gathering members like an Infinity Stone, bro. Oh my god, she's the magician. That is so cool, dude. Oh, I'm so glad she didn't die. Peek, dude, that was fucking good, dude. I'm crying, dude. I thought she was dead. I'm so glad she's alive, bro. Update chapter, I will update the chapter. Oh my god, my voice got a little raspy. I'm so lightheaded, man. That was such a good chapter. Holy shit, man, that was a good chapter. Let's pause and update. Whoa, nah, she's fine. What was the original quote? At the that original Klein left behind, everyone dies, including me. Right? Something, everyone will die, including me, was the quote. Thank you. Oh, and we know there is, oh my god, hold up. We know Klein, we know Zolmangiri resurrected. If he resurrected, maybe original Klein resurrected in the real world, and this transparent door is like a bridge that connects Klein and Zoe. I just dropped my mic. It connects both of them, and this has something to do with the blood moon, and like this has something to do with the true creator, where he needs maybe his perfect vessel is a vessel that's been bridged between the real world and like the world of Beyonders. Cooking again. I'm so lightheaded. Oh my god. This series is so good, bro. I haven't read it in like a month, and like the more I read this, the more I realize this is a really good series. And the more I read this, the more I realize I'm getting really invested in this series, and that's scary, and it's also exciting. That like I'm going on this journey with you guys. Clip it, ship it, send it, save it. We need to have like an archive. Man, I love this series. Oh my god. All I'm gonna say is this: when the physical volume comes out, we're gonna reread it. We're gonna reread the series as the volumes come out. And you know what? I'm gonna do a volume 1 review. I'm gonna do my best to gather my thoughts, because I'm starting to like I've liked the series since we finished volume 1, but I'm starting to fall in love with this series, right? And the more I read, the more I come to appreciate this series. So I need to do a volume 1 review and gather my thoughts, you know, just so I can archive it and remember these feelings, so I won't forget this moment. And then I need to do the same when the physical volume comes out. Best fiction ever, I get it. Rereading is amazing. Elotum is reread to speak. So much stuff you miss on the first read. I know. I remember reading comments like in the original streams like, oh my god, look at the foreshadowing. And I'm like, what fucking foreshadowing? Like, my man is just cooking. What do you mean? Or like, I remember you like, look at the foreshadowing. And I'm like, look at the symbolism. Like, what symbolism? There was no symbolism. So whatever there was, I didn't catch. Oh shit, I just realized I'm still recording. But you know what? This is cool. Just the harbor fight itself. Like, just the harbor fight itself was really good. And like, now we know that like his opponent was like a magician, and like, dude, like, Cuttlefishes, like, is he on psychedelics when he writes the series? I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, he has to be on psychedelics to come up with this stuff. Like, this guy is crazy, dude. Rereading is a must. It is. And we are going to be reading the physical release. There is even foreshadowing in volume 1 for volume. Wait, dude, get out of here. There's no way. That's crazy, dude. How many chapters are this series again? Did we hit at least 10% for volume 1? No, I think we've passed the 10%, right? Okay, let's continue. True? Okay, let's continue. We're at 298. I'm losing my voice. I gotta keep it cool. I gotta keep it together. All right, man. Chapter 298 is called Together Again. FORS and she are together again, so she didn't leave her friend, right? It gets better even if you don't believe. I believe you guys. I believe you guys. You guys have been hyping this series up since day one. FORS' eyelashes fluttered a few times before... my voice. Hold up. We cannot lose our voice. Our first stream back. FORS' eyelashes fluttered a few times before she slowly opened her eyes, only to find herself lying on the floor of her living room. Through the window, she saw that the bright moon was hanging high in the sky like a crimson disk. The normally thin and blurry chiffon seemed to turn into a rich, bloody light. I'm not dead. I didn't lose control. It wasn't a dream just now. I really was saved by mysterious and powerful Mr. Fool. When FORS sat up and examined herself, she saw that there was nothing unusual about the rest of her body, except that her hair had grown longer and denser. Really? I came back in this chapter. Bro, she's back, bro. So her hair changed. But my life, it's completely different from before. I don't know if this is a good or bad. She's going to be so happy when she sees Audrey. Oh my God, Audrey, what's up, girl? Ah, we're moving the secret club. Oh, you guys have been calling. This is like a book club. This is where she's going to get her next. Whoa. FORS' next book is going to be based on the Terror Club and Mr. Fool. That is so cool. That is so cool. That is so awesome, dude. And then, oh, that is so cool. Chat, we need to mold Easy into a FORS simp. I'm already a FORS simp. I think you guys mentioned that people ship FORS and KLEIN. I can see that. He's your. I mean, I know it's like a kind of a stereotype where the person falls in love with the savior, right? I'm down. I'm all for it. I'm not dead. I didn't lose control. It wasn't a dream just now. I really was saved by a mysterious and powerful Mr. Fool. When FORS sat up and examined herself, she saw that there was nothing unusual about the rest of her body except that her hair had grown longer and denser. She got more hair than me, man. I'll tell you that much. But my life, it's completely different from before. I don't know if this is a good or bad. Silently mumbling to herself, FORS sat on the ground, hugging her knees while lost in thought. Her mind would sometimes wander off, and often at times she would be anxious, sad, or confused. Above the gray fog, KLEIN looked at the chair, which had the symbol of a layered door on its back. He muttered to himself on the thought, I wonder what kind of information is contained in those ravings. When she's at sequence 7 or 6, she should be able to resist the negative effects and hear the content of the ravings. If she hasn't grasped the acting method, I can't let Miss Justice and the others help me teach her. Wait, if she hasn't grasped the acting method, I can let... Oh, this is KLEIN. This is... I thought we were still before. This is KLEIN's inner monologue. Above... Let me reread this. I got a little too excited. FORS X Shield's the best. I ship that. Yeah. But like, because they're probably going to become like best friends, right? They're going to be like, so far they've always been together. Above the gray fog, KLEIN looked at the chair, which had the symbol of a layered door on its back. He muttered to himself and thought, I wonder what kind of information is contained in those ravings. When she's at, oh, and they're going to trade the info that she hears. When she's at sequence 7 or 6, she should be able to resist the negative effects and hear the content of the ravings. If she hasn't grasped the acting method, I can let Miss Justice and the others help me teach her. I have sworn under a holy artifact that the goddess that I wouldn't mention anything related to the acting method to people who aren't aware of it. When I advance to sequence 5 and become a nimble right master, perhaps I can use a corresponding ritual on the uniqueness of the mysterious space to remotely control her and directly see what she sees and hears when she hears. Oh, because that's like the puppeteer, right? When I advance to sequence 5 and become a nimble right master, perhaps I can use a corresponding ritual on the uniqueness of the mysterious space to remotely control her and directly see what she sees and hears what she's hearing. Dude, this is crazy. He really does become a Lord of Mysteries, huh? That way, I can determine if it's Mr. Door. This gentleman who has witnessed the history of the 4th epoch might be even older than Mr. Zik, who is deaf himself, who had lived multiple lives. I wonder what sequence his strength and level of equipment are equivalent to 2 or even 1. After some consideration, he felt that his spirituality was becoming unstable, so he hurriedly descended into the gray fog and turned into the real world. This was a common occurrence after a recent advancement, and therefore KLEIN gave up on going out, and he patiently entered cognition at home, retracting and releasing his spirituality. In wee hours of the morning, FORS took the airless steam metro back to St. George Borough before taking a public carriage to the two-bedroom apartment where she lived with Shio. When she opened the door, she was surprised to find Shio, who usually slept late, toasting some bread. The sudden appearance of last night's blood moon gave me insomnia, so I woke up very early. FORS, are you alright? Did those strange ravings get stronger? Shio asked, looking up with concern. Aw, FORS' vision suddenly blurred. Are you okay? Did those strange ravings get stronger? Shio asked, looking up with concern. FORS' vision suddenly blurred. She turned her head to the side, forced with a smile, and said with her usual confrontational tone, "What happened to your brain? Didn't I say it before? The ravings will definitely become stronger during the blood moon. But it doesn't affect me at all. Yeah, it doesn't affect me at all. Look at me. Look at how energetic I am right now. Hey, toast a piece of bread for me too. I thought you didn't like eating it this way." She tilted her short blonde hair and mumbled softly. After taking the first sip... After taking his... Oh, we're back with KLEIN? After taking his first step at revenge and attaining an advancement, KLEIN slept through the night. He leisurely went out to buy Faina Potter noodles for the breakfast along with a desi pie and a cup of sweet iced tea. After enjoying the delicacies in satisfaction, he put down his fork and knives and picked up the newspaper. He was in a very relaxed mood and he began to read. Okay. A quick scan revealed that the headlines of the Tustic Times read, "Night of the Bloody Moon, the killer of the demon strikes again." Oh, there was another killer. Jack the Ripper. He strikes again. So this is his 12th kill? KLEIN quickly flipped through the front pages of the other newspapers and saw many similar titles. The 11th... Oh, no, the 11th. Oh, no, so this is 11. So he has 2 more kills before he can evolve to... Was it Devil? Right? The 11th true case. The police are helpless. The cold-blooded killing demon... Oh, demon. The cold-blooded killing demon has once again made a clear mockery of the police. The atmosphere of panic is spreading through Backland. This, the Nighthawks, and the mandated punishment must all be having headaches, right? KLEIN sighed in his heart. To be honest, he had the urge to catch the killer. It has to be someone we know that's hiding in plain sight. Back on Earth, when he was weak, he would often daydream about being a person to uphold justice and punish evil. But now, as a Sequence 7 Beyonder, KLEIN felt sorry for his past dreams due to his choice of not being a superhero. Sigh, what a pity. This case has already received a high level of attention. If I were to join, wouldn't that mean that I'm waiting for my identity to be exposed? Yeah, by a Nighthawk. I still have to be rational. Furthermore, according to the Sun, the culprit is highly likely to be advancing from Sequence 6 to Sequence 5. Although I won't be afraid of him, I not be able to catch him even with the new spells and spell-like abilities I gain. It's gonna be so cool when he fight. I get it. The next fight is gonna be so cool. I gained, it's quite risky. After thinking about it, KLEIN still chose to follow his deepest beliefs and remain an ordinary citizen. He believed that with his strength of the few churches, if the killer were to continue committing crimes, there was a high chance of them getting caught. After flipping through the news, KLEIN glanced at the Beckland Morning Post and found that the advertisement for the Ernest firm's purchase of the goods had appeared again on the 5th page. There's going to be a gathering tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Oh, the gathering. Yeah, I can sell the Spring of Elves Marrow Crystal at the Apocryphy Den. KLEIN muttered as he memorized the first 4 digits of the price listed. Half an hour later, he finished reading the thick newspapers in front of him and started to seriously consider his future plans. The long-term plan is to advance to a high sequence, becoming a demigod expert before I plot my revenge against Instinguil. Oh, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be so good when we kill him. A midterm plan is to find the active method for magician. I'll slowly summarize the corresponding mantras to observe so as to digest the potion bit by bit. During this process, I'll start my search for the characteristic of a human skin shadow hair from a deep sea naga, thousand-faced hunter's blood, and mutated pituitary glands, as well as the means to remove an evil god's corruption from an object. The Beyonder ingredients of Sequence 6 each cost around 1,500 pounds. It's very expensive. In addition, I need to obtain a mystical item that's focused on attacking and controlling. Although a magician is very powerful, most of the Beyonder powers are used for life preserving and escaping. In a corresponding environment, the strongest attack is that of a custom revolver. The only boon is how it takes others by surprise, and it also lacks the means to control an enemy. Short-term plan. Heh. I'll be cutting up some paper figurines and making preparations for my powers. I'll visit the circus in the afternoon as a way to relax and for entertainment. I can try to gain inspiration for the acting by observing ordinary magicians. Yes, I saw the new... Oh! Is it the same circus from before? The one that was moving? I can try to gain inspiration for the acting by observing ordinary magicians. Yes, I saw in the newspapers that there are a few permanent circuses in Backland. After finalizing his thoughts, Klein immediately tidied up his plates, cleaned his knives, forks, and devoted himself into being busy making preparations. When it was almost noon, he put down the scissors and looked at the 3 crude papers figurines in front of him. He sighed and muttered to himself, "This is probably the first time in my life that I've done manual work so seriously. Fortunately, it's just to cut out some paper figurines and not flowers or embroidery. It's fine as long as it's shaped like a person. Sigh, if it wasn't for the fact that my hands had become dexterous, I might have failed today." Klein had just used an additional paper figurine to test his capabilities and confirm that everything was fine. He folded the paper figurines and hid it in the stack of notes. Klein put them away in his pocket. Just as he hides it in his money. Just as he was about to go out and enjoy a meal at a slightly better restaurant before heading to the nearest circus to watch the performance, the doorbell... It's a new case. The doorbell suddenly rang and the pleasantry jingling echoed in the air. A job! The advertisement poster should almost be done with his listing period. Wearing a starched shirt and a thin, warm sweater, Klein came to the door and grabbed the handle. At the same time, the image of the visitor appeared in his mind. Look at that clairvoyance. It was a man in his 40s. He was rather fat and he appeared to have difficulty even standing. His eyes were tiny from the copious amounts of flesh on his face. His skin was rough but very white. He had a gentleman's cane in his hand and a very tall and large hat on his head. Even though we're good. Even though Backland was cold in October, the man's forehead was dripping with sweat. Besides him were 2 attendants in bright red coats. The red gloves? Supporting him from both sides. I don't know him, Klein mumbled, and before his spiritual perception could respond, he opened the door. Good afternoon, the weather is truly scorching hot. The fat, middle-aged man took out a handkerchief and wiped the sweat off his forehead. No, it's not hot, it's cold. As he spoke, a cold wind blew, causing the 2 attendants beside him to shiver. He has to be a beyonder. There's something going on. Good afternoon. Is there anything I can help you with? Klein asked politely. You are Detective Sherlock Moriarty. I have something that I want to entrust you with. The middle-aged man forced a smile and said, I forgot to introduce myself. I am Rogo Coleman, a jewelry businessman. Please come on in. Klein smiled and made away. Rogo Coloman stepped in with a heavy footsteps and sat down on the sofa, causing the old furniture to emit a resonant groan. What is it exactly? Klein took out a copper penny and deftly rolled it around his fingerprints. Rogo sighed and said, I wish for you to protect my son until tomorrow afternoon. He has offended some lunatics. Until tomorrow afternoon, have you found a solution? Why not call the police? Klein asked unhurriedly. Rogo remained silent for 2 seconds before saying, Adol got into some bad company and was led to do bad things by them. Oh, it's nothing too serious. Cap. That's why he didn't go to the cops. Oh, it's nothing too serious, but ones that can land him in prison. Unless it's necessary, I don't want to call the police. He recently had a falling out with those bad friends of his. As a result, he suddenly broke down and kept yelling that those people wanted to kill him. I was very worried, so I hired 6 senior bodyguards from and they're dead. From a security company to keep watch outside. Then I hired another 4 private detectives to take shifts watching over Adol even if he's sleeping. But one of the detectives suddenly had an accident at home and will be able to return. Okay, I was like, they're all dead. Like, why would he accept it? But one of the detectives suddenly had an accident at home and will only be able to return tomorrow afternoon. Therefore, I can only hire another detective at the last minute. Okay, speculating. Jack the Ripper is probably going to be hiding amongst one of the 6 bodyguards or one of the other 3 detectives. Like, Jack the Ripper has to be hiding in plain sight if we haven't been able to find him. And it has to be a character that we don't suspect. So when there's a character I really like, he cooking again? When it's a character I really like, I'm gonna call it. It's gonna be Jack. Whatever character I like that gets brought up in the next few chapters in this bodyguard mission is gonna be Jack the Ripper. I'm sorry, I can only hire you for 1 day. Yes, the reward is 10 pounds. Will it burn? He is cooking. It won't burn. Is that so? 10 pounds for a day. That's equivalent to a week's salary of Mr. Samir from next door. Klein was able to tell from the color of the other's emotions that he wasn't lying. During the brief silence in the living room, he kept flipping the copper penny between his fingers, and with a thud, it fell on his palm. Klein glanced at it, bent his fingers, and smiled. Deal. Sorry, I burped. Let's go straight into the next chapter. Snapping fingers. Next chapter. You're the head chief? Let's go. Let's update. I realized I haven't updated my chapter. Who knows, remember? I realized I did not update my chapter for 98. I apologize. All right, last chapter for today. Chapter 299 is called Snapping Fingers. Westboro, Grime Garden Street. KLEIN was with quite a stubble around his mouth, wore a pair of gold-rimmed glasses while carrying a top hat and a black cane. He followed Rogal Kallman into a spacious and bright living room. There was a huge crystal chandelier hanging from the ceiling. The walls, corners, and tables were decorated with all kinds of golden carvings and ornaments. The entire area looked glorious, exquisite, and luxurious. As expected of a jewelry businessman, a businessman stays in Westboro. KLEIN scanned the old paintings by the side and side. With every step Rogal took, the fat on his body quivered. It left people maliciously wondering when his clothes and pants would snap. However, as a jewelry businessman, he had enough money to buy clothes of the best quality. Detective Moriarty, this is my son Adol. Logo stopped at the edge of a carpet and pointed to a boy that was around 15 or 16 years old and was sitting on a single sofa. As all the fireplaces in the house were lit, there were metallic pipes, so he can technically teleport to the fire pit. Can someone remind me how many members are in the Terror Club right now? 22. I'm kidding, dude. It's gonna be crazy when we're full. At that moment, he had his head low, tightly hugging himself as he shivered nonstop. His dark blue eyes' hair seemed to have lost its luster. Rogo looked at him with concern and raised his voice slightly. Adol, this is Detective Moriarty. He will be protecting you for today and tomorrow. At these words, Adol raised his head, revealing his pale face, his bluish lips, and his unfocused eyes. Protect me, they're going to kill me, they want to kill me. His voice became sharper and sharper, and in the end he covered his ears with his hands and screamed. After a few seconds he gradually calmed down. During this process, KLEIN had already tapped his molars and secretly activated his spirit vision. He held back the shock that he had crept up in his mouth and carefully examined him again. He saw that the color of Adol's aura had been dyed with a deep blackish green sheen. This is a sign of being haunted by wraiths, a sign of possible possession. He's possessed? Adol's bad friends are already taking revenge on him, or perhaps there were no such things as bad company at all. KLEIN quietly reached out, held Mr. Zick's copper whistle, and allowed the spirituality to spread. Then he thoughtfully looked away from Adol and looked at the others inside the living room. By the oriel window stood a man in a black coat. He was tall and sturdy, not smiling, and his waist was bulging as if he were hiding a gun. This should be one of the 6 bodyguards. KLEIN was about to size up another person when Rogal Kallman introduced Detective Castellana, her assistant Lydia. So it's the detective or the assistant. Detective Stewart. At this point, Rogo turned around and pointed at KLEIN. This is Detective Sherlock Moriarty. Castellana was in her 30s, her black hair and blue eyes, thick eyebrows. She was probably a beauty when she was young, but now because of the sagging muscles on her cheeks, she didn't seem very amiable. Lydia, her assistant, was a red-haired lady about 20 years of age. Her figure was excellent, but she had an average appearance. Both women wore something similar to what aristocrat writers wore. The white shirts they wore were tight at the waist, which matched the more tight-fitting trousers that facilitate movement. The pleats were the only thing that distinguished the clothes from men. In addition, they provided no concealment for the 2 revolvers around their waists. They reminded KLEIN of a saying from Lawyer Drigan that illegal possession of guns was a sure thing for a private investigator. This was because unless one was a noble, a member of parliament, or a senior civil servant, it was very difficult to obtain an all-purpose weapon permit. But they have one. Stewart sat opposite to Castellana and Lydia. He had a lean face, but he grew a bushy beard. His light green eyes were unusually lively. He was about the same age as Lydia and almost as tall as KLEIN, a little over 1.7 meters, and weighed 140 pounds. Average 2 meters. He's like almost 6 feet. Wait, no. Yeah, almost 6 feet. Stewart had an armpit holster, and in it there was obviously a specially designed revolver. After exchanging pleasantries, KLEIN took off his coat, took off his hat, and handed it to the maidservant next to him. Put it somewhere I can retrieve it quickly from. There are some important items inside. In fact, he had already transferred the paper figurine, notes, charms, a matchbox, etc. to his trouser pocket. So he's bamboozling them, thinking that his trump card is in the coat. So whenever somebody attacks, they think, oh, he's unguarded because he left his coat. In fact, he had already transferred the paper figurines, notes, charms, and matchbox etc. into his trouser pockets. The only thing left in his coat was herbal powder, extract essence oils, keys, and his wallet. There was a total of 206 pounds in the paper bills in his wallet. Stuart, who was sitting there, turned his head to size Klein up and chuckled, "You didn't bring a gun?" "Gun? This is my gun." Klein smiled and raised his cane. At the same time, he puffed out his cheeks to simulate a sound. Bang. That's cool. The sound of a gunshot rang out, and without thinking, Stuart rolled over while KLEIN and Lydia quickly got off the sofa, each finding a place to hide. Yo, they got scared. Rogue and the servant beside him were both surprised and confused about what was happening. He's already acting as a magician. Adol continued keeping his head low as he shivered. When they saw that Klein was only holding on to a black cane and realized that nothing had happened, KLEIN and company calmed down. They frowned and asked, "What just happened?" One will say that was a magic trick. Ever since I handed a revolver I picked up to the police, I've been learning how to imitate its sound. It seems to be quite effective. Klein replied half jokingly. "That's not funny, Detective Moriarty," KLEIN said in a deep voice. "I just wanted to perform some magic for you." Klein lampooned. So him lampooning means he's digesting. So he's indirectly digesting whatever future lampooner potion is for like sequence 1, 2, or 3. Klein lampooned, which means Klein digested. So him lampooning from the very, that has to mean something, because I have never in my life have used the word lampoon. Like, the word lampoon has never once been used in my vocabulary. Klein lampooned. He handed his cane to the maidservant and solemnly nodded. "I will keep this in mind." Watch him like skip a potion at one point. Watch him somehow skip 1 and go straight to 0. Or watch him somehow skip 1. Yeah. Lampooning is a holy word. It is a holy word. Which one will say a godly word. Lampooning is being sarcastic. So watch there be a potion where you have to be sarcastic. There has to be like a sarcastic like carnival roll that I don't know of, man. Stuart, who was in the most pathetic state a moment ago, didn't seem to be angry at all. He patted his clothes with great interest, got up and asked, "Why haven't I heard of you, Mr. Moriarty? I mean, I know a lot of people in the detective business, but I've not heard about you in the past. I only came to Backland in early September," Klein briefly explained. "Is that so?" Stuart laughed and said, "Tonight, the two of us will pair up. We'll be in charge of everything from midnight until tomorrow morning. Will there be a problem?" "Nope," Klein responded with the same smile. "Okay, after dinner, you guys have some rest and take over your shifts in the early mornings," KLEIN added. Klein took a long look at the trembling Adol and nodded seriously. Nothing happened throughout the afternoon, and worried male and female hosts prepared a hearty dinner for the detectives and the bodyguards, but no alcoholic beverages were provided. After eating and drinking to his heart's content, Klein and Stuart, a young man was filled with beard, went to their rooms on the second floor. Seeing that no one was around, Stuart shook his head and said, "Sherlock, you should have noticed that the problem with Dole isn't something regarding revenge." No, he's possessed. Oh, he's also a Beyonder. "Bro, you sure are affable." Klein's expression didn't change and asked, "Why do you say that?" "He looks more like he has a mental problem, or according to the countryside, he's been haunted by ghosts and evil spirits. Frankly, I'm afraid of that." Stuart sighed. "Mr. Colum should take him to a psychiatrist, and if that doesn't work, get the priest from the Lord of Storms to sprinkle some holy water and perform a ritual. You can suggest it to him," Klein said objectively. "If Adol doesn't get that, I'll consider it about in a couple of days." Stuart glanced sideways at Klein. Klein laughed and replied, "That's up to you. My mission will be over tomorrow." At that moment, the two of them had arrived at their destination and entered their respective rooms. 1 in the morning, inside Adol's bedroom, Klein sat in a rocking chair, just like the old lady, right? Remember the rocking chair with the old lady? From, like, what was it? Ray Bieber's mom? Justin Bieber? Yeah, never mind. Not Justin Bieber, Ray Bieber. Once in the morning, inside Adol's bedroom, Klein sat in the rocking chair, holding onto his Zig's copper whistle, quietly watching his wand. Quietly watching his words. Stuart sighed. My nose is so itchy. I'm so sorry. Stuart sipped his coffee at his desk. The two of them didn't speak, afraid that they would wake up the sleeping Adol. As time passed, a cold chill swept through the rooms. Adol sat up and opened his eyes. "What's wrong?" Stuart asked somewhat nervously. "To the washroom," Adol replied in a soft, dreamy voice. His face seemed paler and his lips were turning purple. Stuart was about to speak when he saw Sherlock Moriarty stand up and nod at him. "I'll follow him." "All right." Stuart let out a sigh of relief, putting his hands in his pockets. Klein stayed one step behind Adol and followed him to the entrance of the washroom 2 rooms away. Just as Adol was about to close the door behind him, he saw a figure flash in. I can't let you out of my sight. Hey, do whatever you have to do and pretend that I don't exist. Klein smiled and leaned against the wall. Adol remained silent, his eyes unfocused as he looked into the mirror. He turned on the faucet and let out the water flow. At this moment, Klein took out a box of matches and lit a matchbox as though he wanted to smoke. But he's setting up the fire because he knows something is about to happen. At this moment, Klein took out a box of matches, lit a matchstick, and though he wanted to smoke. However, he didn't do so. He blew on the air and allowed the match to go out. Pa. Klein casually threw the match in front of him and took out another item. Adol, who was facing him, suddenly straightened up. The figure in the mirror was so pale it looked like a corpse. Whoosh. In the washroom, a cold wind howled. Oh my god. I'm sorry. Hold up. Oh, this is TMI. My nose is so itchy. Does he know about Sequence 0? Yeah, I do know about there being a Sequence 0. Yeah, no, I know about that. That was actually revealed. Whoosh. A gush of cold... What? Hold up. I need to awkwardly pause the video. Alright, we're good. We're good. Sorry for the awkward pause. A gust of wind blew across Klein's face. He continued smiling and snapping his fingers. With a loud bang, a flame rose from the ground, igniting an invisible figure. The figure struggled for a few minutes before completely disappearing. The flames extinguished as a result. Klein put away a Zig's copper whistle and looked calmly at Adol, whose eyes were beginning to focus. Adol appeared to have finally awoken from a long nightmare. I understood that reference. He saw a young man standing a few steps away. Oh! Did he purify him already? The man was wearing a white shirt, dark trousers, and a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. He was leaning against the wall with a smile on his face. Then he heard a gentle voice. What happened to you? Why easy pronouncing his name as Adolf? Isn't it Adol? That's what I said. Oh, I said Adol. Or is it Adol? Bro lit that spirit up. So he purified him. So he purified the spirit with the fire. He has Oh, he did a purification ritual. So he didn't need the mirror. Or he didn't need to set up the table. Right? Because his spirit, like, his spirituality increased as he advanced to magician. So, just like with when he activates his spirit vision, back then he had to physically do it. Now he just clicks his molars, right? So now his purification ritual, he doesn't need to like physically set it up. Let me reread this. Klein put away a Zig's copper whistle and looked calmly at Adol, whose eyes were beginning to focus. Adol appeared to have finally awoken from a nightmare. He saw a young man standing a few steps away from him. The man was wearing a white shirt, dark trousers, and a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. Wait, is that Klein? Is Klein wearing gold-rimmed glasses? He was leaning against the wall with a smile on his face. Then he heard a gentle voice. What happened to you? Oh, Klein is telling him what happened to him. So he burned the spirit. Oh, that's, you know what? I think that's a really good stopping point. We set up the mystery. Spirits are weak to fire, I think. I think they are, because when he did the whole purification thing to FORS and Shio, I think the description was like a bright light or looked like fire. He uses Zig's copper whistle to influence the spirit. Oh, it was the whistle. Yeah, it's a nice stopping point. Yeah, it's a really good mysterious stopping point. Oh wait, timestamp. But yeah, we read chat. You promised a 4-hour stream. Yeah. This is a 4-hour stream. 3 hours and 37 minutes plus the 5-minute stream. It round out. We will go see. You guys go to sleep. Because this was a really good... this was a really good read through. I almost cried. I lied. I kind of cried. I got a little teary-eyed. I got hyped. I went through like all 7 stages of denial with freaking FORS, man. Well, good enough? Close enough. I'll take it. Okay, I'm happy to be back. Tomorrow's stream, I think I might read... it won't be this long of a stream. I love how emotional you got. I got a little emotional. I got excited. I got humbled. I got depressed. I got sad. I recovered. I got hopeful. I got hopeful. We went through all of it. We went through all stages, man. I I really like the series. The more I read this, the more I come to fall in love with it, the more I come to appreciate it, and the more I come to understand why people say it only gets better. It really is getting better. And I find it crazy how people say this is the weakest point in the series, because it's been really good. I'm going to sleep. Yeah, I know. You guys get sleep, because I know for people on EU time, at least on that side of the hemisphere, it's like super early in the morning. Damn, you started watching me like at 1 a.m. I'm sorry about that, Sui. I'm sorry. All right, guys, we're going to end it there. We'll be back tomorrow. Heads up, I might only read 5 chapters. We'll see. I'll keep you guys updated. But we read 10 chapters today. And we're back. I did all-nighter adding stuff to the server and didn't sleep. Bro, get some sleep, Ramiro, man. You've earned it, bro. Thank you so much, man. But until then, I will see you guys next time. Peace. And have a beautiful day or night. Thank you guys. Schedule stream, please. I will schedule stream.